Do you know if I had £1 for every time I told a racist joke, some black fucker would try to rob me? Hit it! I don't know what Marlon says here. He usually goes, "Good evening, Internet." That's what he says.
That's it. Good evening, Internet.
There we go. Welcome back to another episode of In the Doghouse, the podcast that thinks the term casual racism implies there is also ranked and competitive racism.
Right, ring the fucking bell, mate.
There we go.
Right.
Housekeeping.
Buy the merch, don't buy the merch. We don't care. We're not your real parents. Just fucking buy it. We've got.
I might be a real parent, but you know, I'm in maintenance.
Okay, there's a high chance that Keith could be.
Yeah. Keith probably is.
I'm all your parents.
We got
Yes, Daddy.
we got big things to pay for. Buy the merch.
Yeah, there
right,
we go.
Reg, back to you.
Right, yes, buy the merch. Join the Patreon. Ladies and gentlemen, join the Patreon. If you're not on the Patreon already, then you are human garbage. I hope you die a slow and crippling death from bum AIDS. So join the Patreon. You can join from as little as like £2 a month all the way up to like £6. That'll give you 10% off the merch. I've literally, as we've started the show, I've just had a message from our graphic designer. So although everyone just thought I was posting Edmund Fitzgerald memes all week, I am actually doing some stuff in the background. I am working on the new hoodie designs.
I sat there watching Edmund Fitzgerald videos for the rest of that fucking day.
Everyone messaged me, was like, "Reg, what have you done to me?" And I'm like, I just the
Opened a can of worms.
The gales of November have
Came
come
early.
early, my brev. All right.
Reg, why would you want to join the Patreon?
Because then you get entered into the Pit Viper giveaway. The Pit Viper giveaway will be at some point this month. I'm not really too sure when, because I'll probably be in Florida when this comes out, I think, maybe. So we'll get it done. We might roll it over into a super one that come at the end of December and give away like a whole load of Pit Vipers. I don't know.
Just leave it on the side, mate. I'll give it. I'll give
them away.
We
fuck
we
you.
own
Try
the Pit Vipers.
and fucking help you. You know what I mean?
They're
This is what I
our
fucking
Pit
get.
Vipers now.
You know what I mean? We fucking pay for this.
Here we go.
You know, he needs it. Look at him. He's got no fucking hair and he needs fucking Pit Vipers. You know what I mean?
Marlon's just text H saying, "Don't break my chair." He is so precious over that chair because it's the only one.
Joking.
Fuck off with the buttons, man.
Here we
It's
go.
the only one that survived out of all the other four. Like mine, Keith's, and GILO'S are all fucked, but
Really bouncy.
Don't break it. He still hasn't made the new ones yet. So join the Patreon. You can get on the Discord. The Discord is complete chaos. We were just discussing about all the god awful things we've seen on there this week. Do you know what's really interesting, right? Somebody posted in the Angry Chat, has anyone got the video of the hair coursing boys going after that farmer? And within about 3 minutes, someone was like, "Yeah, I got it. Here you go. Bosh." I was like, any fucking wild shit you want to see, them boys, it's like a social experiment watching what people can do when you need to see fucked up and weird porn and like just the most god awful shit. So yeah, join the Patreon. Links in the description in the bio. Yes, a couple of quid a month helps us do what we want to do. I really appreciate it. Give you some.
And if you join the top tier of the Patreon, you get 10.69% off the merch.
You do. Thank you, H. Yes, you do. So yeah.
Looks like someone's trying to encroach on somebody's territory, don't they, eh?
Marlon who?
You've been pissing on that fucking seat as well, marking your territory there, haven't you?
Right, before we get into the show, a massive shout out to the AUTOMOVER. So you went for a long one opposed to a loud one.
That's it. You happy with that now?
I was more appreciative of that, yeah, because I've got two level clippers on that side of the table this tonight. So yeah, the AUTOMOVER, big up to the AUTOMOVER. I mean, if you we're all here. Well, actually, no, Gilo buys quite sensible cars. Well, he's not about to, but we've got H, we've got Keith, and
I'm
myself.
buying what I class a midlife crisis vehicle, all right?
Yeah, but it's fair. I don't know.
It's a large midlife
It's
crisis,
a large.
isn't it? For a large man.
For a large man.
But we are the
And it's orange.
We are the buyers of god awful cars, aren't we? H probably takes the crown for that, for unreliable stuff. And there have been times in my past where I've been like, yeah, especially when I bought the P38. I was in a motorway services with fuel pouring out from underneath it and it overheating and thinking, why didn't I get someone else to do this for me? And why am I driving it back from Essex and not going to make the M3 at this rate? This is the thing. You need to negate all this and don't worry about all that stress. and just make life easy for yourself and get in touch with the AUTOMOVER. If you're buying a car or you're selling a car, it all comes with that sort of level of, oh, God, how am I going to get it back? Oh, fucking hell, that bloke wants it, but he lives in, God, some far-flung Hebridean place in Scotland. You need to get in touch with the AUTOMOVER and take all of that out of the situation, especially when, like I say, if you're selling a car and you can offer it with nationwide delivery available
And
live tracking,
fucking tracking.
You can get.
Do you know what? Like, minus, he's even got the fucking teeth, hasn't he? Look at it.
You horrible bastard.
You're all set to swallow yours at this rate.
Is that right, my son? Go on.
Swallow something.
I loves it when you fucking put up a struggle. Go on.
It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're buying, selling, or whether you just need to move a vehicle around the countryside. If it's going off to be restored, if you're buying a project, or if you're just getting something dragged out of the nettles, or you just need to get a car from one side of the country to the other, look no further than the AUTOMOVER. 4 wheels, 2 wheels, no wheels. Car, caravan, anything. If it can go on a bull hitch or go on a flatbed, the AUTOMOVER is the man for you. Competitive rates, insured, reliable.
Load exclusivity.
Load exclusivity. You're not just clagged on the back of a BCA trailer and not really just another line on a tick list. No, you are a dedicated load, and the AUTOMOVER is going to take the best care over your vehicle. So get in touch with him. Link in the episode description, link in the bio. Use ITDH in the vehicle description for 10% off your
70% off.
These shitbags. I don't know why I do this to myself. But yeah, big up to the AUTOMOVER for sponsoring the show. Right, gentlemen, it is a weird and wild episode. It's just me hosting today. We also have not really. I just call you all guest hosts at this point. You're all here to help me through the lack of Marlon in the studio.
We ain't fucking help you, Reg.
Cheers.
It's not looking good.
How many times? I don't know why whoever I put there was going to fuck with the buttons, but anyway, tonight I'm joined by H. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Also joined by Keith.
How we doing, people?
Good. And Gilo.
Shalom, motherfuckers.
Shalom. We got the boys in. Right, let's kick off. Gilo, what's been going on? How's your week been, mate?
Week. Well, month really. I've been off month longer than that. 6 weeks now. I've been off work.
Oh, heavens.
I had a little oopsie. I wasn't very well. I'm better now. Well, not oopsie. I kind of had a blood infection, but apart from that,
you had a blood infection?
Yeah.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah,
You've been sleeping with trans people again or something, or?
No, it's because I haven't been. That's what it is. See? It cleanses me out.
Blood infection's a weird thing to call AIDS.
You knew where I was going with it.
Yeah,
no, initially I thought it was because I had complications. In my bollocks is swollen again.
That's called blue ball, mate.
No,
it weren't. I'm not being funny. I've never had so much fucking sex in my life. I don't know what to do with it all. I can't fucking cope. Literally, I got beat the fucker off with a stick now. I love it. You know what I mean?
He's just leaking all day.
Is it? It's like must. It's like a fucking like one of those male elephants who are in season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some might say I'm pissing myself, but you know what I mean. It's what it is. Anyway, yeah. So it started off as cancer, and they sort of started treating me for that, and then they went, well, actually, it's sort of replicating cancer, but it's not. It's an infection.
So like a cancer light.
Cancer.
A diet cancer.
Cancer light, bruv.
It's like cancer tab. You know what I mean? Back in the day. And
Cancer zero.
So I've been sort of back on the mend from that.
Sorry, Joe.
That's all right. Hey, look, mate, it is what it is. You're all cunts, and that's it. You know what I mean?
If we were here like, oh, poor Gilo, you'd be like,
it'd be weird. I wouldn't like it.
You false cunts.
Yeah, that's it. I've been waiting for about a week to get back to fucking work, and I'm still waiting for work to ring me to see if I'm fit enough to come back to work. So,
so you have to work have to decide whether you're good enough?
Yeah. Basically, my doctor says I'm okay to go. Well, they're not actually happy about me going back to work, but I'm fucking bored, and I'm fucking need to go back to work.
Yeah.
And I'm skint. That's the main thing. And so I got to wait for occupational health to fucking ring up. And, go for all that fuck.
Imagine being in an industry with occupational health. I don't even know what those words mean.
What? Yeah, I was just trying to play it cool and be like, I know what that is.
Basically, a bunch of fucking people that have failed. Failed at fucking basically their health and safety rejects. I think
that we pay for.
Yeah,
we pay for.
Yeah, you pay for. Yeah.
How do you get rejected from health and safety?
I don't know, but I think they've achieved it by getting occupational health.
It's very scary.
They've only got a level 2 NVQ in clipboard management, not level 3.
So with me time, I've got to give a shout out to Archie Littlewood. He showed me around his leather factory down in Minehead, and was it PWL? They do like fucking riot gear and all sorts, and handcuffs and fucking
Leather riot gear. When are they joining
Riot
the
gear or
21st century?
bondage gear?
Right, leather riot gear.
Yeah, well, you know, like the handcuffs, all the shit the old Bill carry on the fucking
yeah.
belt.
Leather handcuffs, what you get from Love Honey, mate.
You should know, Keith. You should know. Alice did tell me. So I looked around there, and it's just I thought in my spare time off, I'd start a fucking leather business. So,
How is it going?
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Oh, I'm excited.
The boys have sorted me out a fair bit of work, which is always nice.
Have you finished my jockstrap yet?
No, I could get a bit of leather small enough. So.
Try peeling a mouse. It worked well.
Weirdly, the mouse was too big. I'm like money spider territory now. You know what I mean?
A shrew.
Leave the ears on.
Gives them something to hold on to, doesn't it, love? But so shout out Matty Pickford, Fuckred Bob, Calvin fanboy. He actually had a present he wants to bring down to you boys.
Ooh.
Which I was meant to pick up because I was horrendously fucking late. I didn't, and I had a very sad text message from him. I voice noted him and said I'm sorry I'm gonna be late, and he was like, "Okay, so sad."
Oh, bless him. He can swing by.
That's what I said to him, but he was like, "Well, I can't go around there, fangirl." And it's like, "You can." Let me film it. You know what I mean? It'd be fucking hilarious. But so apart from that, just been made some life decisions. I've decided that once the redundancy, if it ever fucking goes around.
With this government,
Oh, fuck, it's got it, mate.
You'll be employed till you're dead now.
No. I want to become a professional hippie.
A professional hippie.
Professional hippie. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, I've decided I'm going to buy a DAF LF Warburton's bread van, convert it into a house, and move into it. So I'm going to be one of them crusties that are parked up by fucking Stonehenge there, fucking giving it all kumbaya and all that bollocks, you know.
So you got 3 kilos of weed and an allergy to deodorant. Lovely.
Hagrid's house on wheels.
1 out of 2 already, son. You know what I mean?
I can see you going to a free party with a bunch of fucking like a bunch of trust fund. What they call them, trustafarians.
Trustafarians,
yeah, just wearing them like a little glove. Coming to Uncle Gilo's special van.
First stop, Stonehenge.
That's what he calls when he just hits them over the head with a rock.
You know, yeah. So
drags him back to the cave.
yeah. So I thought fucking go and do that for a bit, move out of my house because I can't fucking afford it anymore. And
you full off. You think you're going full off grid?
Full off grid for a bit, and then I'm going to save up and buy a bigger truck, and then I'm going to do sort of travel about up Iceland, Norway way.
That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. So I'm looking to get after when I save up, I'm looking to get a MAN HX. Keith would know them.
Is that the like
big,
off-roady type?
Yeah, 4x4 drive. Proper
yeah, I've seen them.
Put a box on the back of that, travel around for a couple of years, and then hopefully saved up enough money because the plan is I'm retraining as a CAD designer. Well, getting certified as a CAD designer. So all this I can do from the van. Obviously, with the logo as well.
I see. I thought when you said I got CAD and what's the other one? Cam. I got Cam. I thought
Same
you.
thing.
I thought you were going to be going around with a fucking lathe in the back. I was like,
there's a lathe underneath.
you need a 3-phase to run that shag. I don't think the alternator's going to run the old CNC milling machine.
Be right.
You've got 5.9 Cummins at high idle. Should be fine.
Gilo's there with a face cutter in the back of the DAF, like, what are you making today? Chessboard.
So that's the fucking grand plan, peeps. You know what I mean?
I'm keen, man. I'm interested.
I'm looking to fucking I've had enough of doing Monday mornings. I've had enough of Monday mornings, and I've had enough of 9 to fucking 5s.
It's quite an extreme measure, Gilo. I don't think anyone really likes Mondays, but I'm going to fuck this. I'm going to go live in the Hebrides.
Yeah, that's exactly what the plan is. Live in the fucking Hebrides. I'm going to sit there high grid in its natural fucking wilderness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Long coat, bit of flashing. You know what I mean? Away we go, like.
Well, if you buy a van and I buy a van, then we can be men with Ben.
We can go do like group meets with the rest of the van lifers. Shout out Kelvin. You know what I mean? It's almost a bit. It's a bit like Illuminati though, van life, isn't it?
Illuminati
But on a lower budget.
What Illuminati?
No, well, what the
fuck's Illuminati?
Oh, you know
Illuminati.
Sorry, you're gonna pick me up on that, you fucking cunt.
Illuminati. It sounds like a fancy drink you get at Costa. I'll have an Illuminati,
Well,
please.
actually, it's another
Can I have
line.
chocolate sprinkles on there?
Can I have creamy sprinkles, please?
Comes in a triangular cup with an eye in it.
Well, whatever the farm is that they hold fucking owls at. Forgot the name.
Oh, what's it? Oh,
Hogwarts.
Fuck no! We got to go full Alex Jones here. What's it called?
What's the name of it?
Grove, Bohemian Grove. Bohemian Grove.
Basically, van life is that, but it's just without the wooden owl and nakedness. Well,
Do you know
Well,
my
it's-
do you know my
lots of
favourite?
nakedness.
there's a lot of nakedness. Yeah.
Do you know my favourite type of owl?
Go on.
A tea towel.
That was a dad
Fucking
joke.
go
You got any
home.
kids?
I borrowed one off Keith.
So yeah, that's the fucking grand plan, kids.
I'm intrigued. I can't wait to see the build. That's what I'm more looking forward
I'm
to.
more terrified the fucking money it's going to cost.
Yeah, just go all out.
really?
Fuck it.
Be right.
Yeah, just send it. Send it into the red. Let's go.
Put all credit, be fine. Fuck
Yeah,
it.
no fix and bone shag.
No, they'll never catch me.
Are you building it in your muffler shop by chance?
I was going to say, it all depends what box you put on the back. If you put a cardboard box, you'd be all right.
That's it. It'll be fine. I'll just sit and rub it with a candle or something, make it waterproof, couldn't it? You know what I mean?
What about you, Keith? How's your week been, mate? All right?
Pretty generic, mate. Still recovering from Sunday.
Generic. I've never heard anyone refer to their week as generic.
Well, go to work and get a bit of work done, have a laugh and a joke. To be fair, though, it's been pretty good the last few weeks. We've had a right good crack at work, but obviously with Remembrance Sunday just passing, we ended up in a bit of a shit state of affairs in the pub. So, yeah, Monday was difficult. It was a very long day.
By saying things, the way you were getting treated at Remembrance Day, I get why these boys go for the whole soul and valor thing. I was ready to whack a medal on my chest and cuts a load of free pints into me. Yeah, well, I was there on the beaches. I've aged well.
Only Gilo's are not old enough to claim that on.
Fucking Barrow Beach.
And I fucking work it well, all right.
No,
I can see Gilo with an L1A1 shooting an RG farmer in the bushes.
I think that's got to be the first remembrance service I've been to where people have come up and been like, thank you, and wanted to put their hand in their pocket. I've never wanted it. I've never gone out for that, but the only place I've really experienced it is when I've been in like Canada or the States. Like you can't
They're
go
big on
anywhere without them wanting to do something.
Thank you for your service, whole thing,
And
Young man.
as Brits, we find it really weird. You don't know how to, even sometimes taking a compliment or a thank you.
We don't do well
Yeah,
with
we don't do
praise.
compliments, do we?
No, well, look, you just because you never get it normally. You're like, thank you.
Cheers.
Like, yeah, what do I say? But yeah, like we went. Well, I met you guys down there after. We had a few beers and had some food, and then went down to one of our local pubs, and just couldn't put my hand in my pocket. And I mean, it was great, but at the same time, you kind of feel a bit weird. You don't know how to let me buy this next round. No, don't be stupid, you fucking idiot. Like we're getting it, and. Well, I called it a night at 7:30. I was fucked. I ain't gonna lie.
I think everyone was like that because they realised we got a Labour government and we're having Gulf War round 3. They're like, well, sorry to hear you.
Your man's only been out a couple of years. He might be going back.
Sorry to hear you going back again.
Oh, mate, any fucking day, I'd put my kit back on, no problem.
I've still got my tin out from Dunkirk in the fucking shed ready to go. Still got that fucking Anderson shelter in the garden look, ready to go.
Reg, we get out of the bar and we get our Spitfire fired up. We'll be away.
Oh, mate.
I got some easy start in the back of the car, actually.
Yeah, so Monday was a long old day. Like normally for me getting to work, it's about a 45-minute drive. It felt like 45 hours. It just fucking went on and on. Yeah, mate. I was to be fair, my mate Lee at work, he fucking had my back all day. He squared me right away. So yeah, thanks Lee for that. I would have been fucked without you.
He had your back all day, by which he means he had a hand up your back using you like a puppet. You've just been passed out since fucking 8 o'clock.
It's like the best ventriloquist ever.
Blah, blah, blah. Moving machine. Blah, blah, blah. All right, Keith, see you later.
But no, other than that, mate, it's been pretty good. I don't think there's really much else to report back on, really. It's just going through life, mate, going through the motions, isn't it? You know, so...
That's so depressing.
Isn't it? Like you said, what the fuck? Why am I even bothering? I'm going to take a leaf out of fucking GILO'S book.
There's always room in the fucking bread round for you, Keith. Come on down, son. Bring all the kids as well.
Stick a fucking roof box on the Audi. Let's go.
Eat the toast, shit the toast. God
Life's relentless. Yes, more peep show quotes need to be added into this show. I've been saying it for years. Oh, people like Coldplay and voted for the Nazis, Jeremy. You can't trust people.
Are we the baddies?
Oh, what about you, H? You had a good week, mate?
Yeah, it's been all right. Pretty standard week, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just without trying to sound boring.
Drop any trailers?
I haven't dropped any.
No. All right,
Picked a
happy
few up
days.
from the port, so Christmas drinks tin is looking promising.
Any extras in the trailers at the port or not?
There's a couple there, but nothing to be spoken about. Yeah, no, pretty normal week. Driving about the countryside, getting treated like shit by everyone as per usual. As lorry
Nothing more
drivers
than you
are.
deserve, then.
I thought it was nationwide, but turns out it's just specific to me.
I just keep getting flipped off by everyone. I mean, I'm in the slow lane on the right-hand side. Like, what do they want from me?
The white lines are supposed to go down the middle of the windscreen, aren't they? I don't really understand what the problem is.
Aiming markers, aren't they?
Yeah, see, like landing lights. But the cat's eyes are the same distance, so I don't know where I'm meant to land.
I've been taxiing for 40 minutes. I don't know where I'm going. No, it's been all right. Pretty standard week. Yeah, driving about, picking stuff up, tipping it off.
Yeah.
About it. There's nothing really exciting to report at the moment. Started a new job. It was a couple of months ago.
Yeah, going well?
Yeah, no, going very well so far. No disrespect to the old job because that was very good as well, but new one's a bit more of what I'm about. It's bit more.
It means you can rob more shit now, is it? Is that what it is?
Don't say that on the podcast.
You don't want me any
Do you want
shit.
that red diesel or not?
He leaves the back doors open at night because he's already offloaded the shit.
It is a welcome refuge for stuff to be dropped off in. I drain my own diesel tank at night to save anyone else doing it.
I've been robbed again. H, you're at your own house. Oh, the thieves.
You are not going to believe this. No, other than that, yeah, no, pretty normal, pretty boring, pretty mundane.
Yeah.
How about you, Reginald? How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been all right, actually. It's been fairly quiet. Nothing really too much to
We
report.
can tell by the
God,
fucking
we're
memes on
boring, aren't we?
Instagram.
Marlon's
hell.
been away, and I've just been like, right, what's he going to do? He's in bed.
That Taliana was just going around in slow circles while Reg is just posting meme after meme after meme.
Oh, yeah, you can tell.
You went in off on it though, didn't you?
I
You
went
didn't fuck about.
Man, I went deep. Yeah, I don't know why. Like every other reel on my Instagram was just Edmund Fitzgerald, and I was like, I
Because it
knew
was the anniversary.
Yeah, I think that was why. And they just know,
This cunt loves documentaries and all the rest of it.
Yeah, this
I'm
cunt's just
Stacey Dooley and I'm at the bottom of the Great Lakes.
yeah. So I just sort of fell down a bit of a hole with that, and I was like, you know what, you're all coming with me.
Yeah,
all right?
yeah,
And
we
you
did.
weren't the only one, Gilo. I had so many people messaging me. Oh, thanks, Reg. I'm now like that's my whole day taken up with Edmund Fitzgerald documentaries. Some people even got into the conspiracies. I didn't even know there were conspiracies.
Oh, yeah, there's
about
conspiracies.
about the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yeah, insurance jobs, a fucking lot.
Oh, I think every time a ship goes down, they're just like, oh, insurance
Insurance
job.
job.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the seawall and all the others. But
Bring
yeah.
the NFU.
I'm sitting there trying to do like fucking technical drawings on one screen, and like normally I've got like the object I'm trying to sort of like work
They
from.
were only
That was
15
gone.
miles from Whitefish Bay.
That was literally just YouTube on autoplay, just flat out on it. You know what I mean?
It's deadly, man. Yeah, but nothing too much. Oh yeah, I made a bit of a fuck up. I made quite the fuck up this week, boys.
Taliana in a ditch.
No.
I like it. It must be quite bad because when he put the telehandler in the ditch, it was a fudgy.
Yeah.
So
This is a fuck up.
This was all,
Did you go to shoot a pheasant and miss and shoot something more significant?
No.
Are you eating free beef burgers for the next 6 months?
Then he shot a sparrowhawk the other day. That was I came round a corner, assuming that I knew there was a pheasant like round this hedge. And I sort of crested the hedge and saw like quite a like light breast of like a hen pheasant.
Angry attack pheasant.
And then as I was down the sights and I was like, why has he got a yellow beak? Motherfucking no, don't shoot those. Anyway, that wasn't it. My fuck up was a road-based fuck up. The wife asked me to pick her up from Bristol at cunts o'clock in the evening on Saturday, just gone. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I was like, sweet. Got the new Defender? She's Euro 6. Fuck your ULEZ low emissions bullshit. I'm blowing it home. So I'm cutting through like, I don't even know where it is. It was somewhere around Pot World, around there. And I'm going through. It's all going fairly well. It's Bristol at night. I've got astigmatism, so it's just like flashing lights. I can't see shit, but I'm cutting.
He's driven in the dance floor, and he a pop well. He's parked a new Defender on the bar. Like, that's just astigmatism.
Yeah, so I'm just cutting around. Anyway, got in there, picked the wife up, all was grand. And I'm trying to like negotiate my way out of this fucking place. And there was like a line of 20 cars in front of me. And they're all going left. And I'm just like, dickheads.
You didn't go right across the bridge, did you?
We want to go right across the bridge, boys. That's
Yeah.
where I want to go. And that is where the taxi in front of me and behind me are going.
Yeah, that's a bus lane, mate.
Yeah, thank that.
Mate, when I was working for my old company, I had about 45 tickets from it because I didn't fucking realise I was just driving home. I was not going a fucking long way round. I know exactly where you're on about, mate.
Civilians, all these tiny brain humans going left. Me, Abdul, and Sajid behind me are clearly big brain, so we are going fucking right. We're going right over the bridge.
All the fucking Deliveroo boys are like, your man's fucking mental.
I'm there waiting in this fucking queue, and
no money in farming, mind.
Oh, the traffic lights aren't filtered, so it's taking for ages. And all of a sudden, some taxi driver flashes me out, and I'm like, cheers, mate. And he's laughing. I'm like, what the fuck? Only as I continue do I realise the pavement is, the tarmac is red. And I'm like, oh, red is bad. Red is like, it's not for like, you know, like Clarkson says, good vehicles. This is a good vehicle. You know? No, my only hope is that the number plate was so disgusting on the back that I might have got away with it. But then again,
could you not message in and say you identify as a push bike?
Oh yeah, I was just a commercial vehicle, mate. I don't think that'd get away with it either. Do it?
Or identify
agricultural
that as
exemption.
a taxi.
Yeah, agricultural exemption.
We was doing a taxi run, weren't you?
I was private hire, mate.
Yeah, the 7.5 ton weight limit, except for access. Well, I need access through here, so I can carry on.
So true. So yeah, that was although so I managed to avoid the £9 low emission zone charge. I have got an 80 quid fucking fine for going for a hunting bus gate. What is a bus gate? Oh,
when it rains, it pours, eh, Reg?
Oh, tell me about it. I was, of course.
Oh, no, why are you worried? Company car, I'll go through the farm account.
I know it will, because I said to him, I got back in the morning, I was like,
he's going to go fucking
you're going to have a letter in the post. You fucking haven't. I was like, not speeding, bus lane. What the fuck are you doing in Bristol? Driving for a fucking bus lane. What are you, your sister? She's driven through every single one in the entirety of Somerset. She was like, there isn't a bus lane in a major city that I haven't driven through, Tom.
She's got it on account. She doesn't have to worry about ringing in to pay the fine. It's just direct debit now, isn't it?
They just take it. Got on a standing order. If it's more, they just take a bit more. If it's less, he gets a rebate at the end of the year. Oh, Christ.
Congratulations, you've only driven through the bus lane 9 times. Have 20 quid back.
Oh, yeah. So that fucking sucks. So yeah, that was.
I must admit, I had it with the ULEZ, because obviously my car go through Bath ULEZ, not a problem.
Yeah.
Because obviously low emissions. So of course I automatically assumed, because I could have checked. But why do I need to check?
Well, you're a man. You don't read the instructions.
I don't need to check, do I? So I go charging on through there. Takes my daughter shopping.
Yeah.
Up at Cabot Circus there. Comes back. A couple of weeks later, this letter hits the fucking deck. £180 fucking fine. I was fucking fuming. Cause on the fucking phone. What the fuck's all this? I sounded like your old man. I literally went a flat out mark fucking territory. You know what I mean? And this woman's on the phone, and she could not have given less of a fuck. Of course, the less she gave a fuck, the more wound up I got. Well, I've just got the fucking letter and it's already got a late charge on it.
Well, you understand, sir, that you drove in the low emission zone, so you've got to pay the fine.
Yeah, but basically, my argument was, well, the letter's only just shown up and you already put a late fee on it.
That's because I sent it 3 weeks ago.
And her exact words were, well, you have to take that up with the Royal Mail, sir.
Oh, God.
And I was just like,
pass the fucking buck on.
Oh, literally, I just, you know, and she has obviously had years of people fucking
that every single phone call she gets is that same thing. I imagine
screaming her head off, and she just you knew she was fucking violent. She was on a phone. She was talking to her mate. She was doing anything but giving a fuck about what I had to say.
Who does?
And that was it. Quite. This is it. You know what I mean? Now I know what it's like for everybody else in the world, isn't it? You know what I mean? But yeah. So she so I just went. I'll just pay the fine now. Then shall I?
No, I hate it. I hate paying road fines. Fucking
it's the worst thing. It's the brown envelope, isn't it?
There's
doesn't matter what's in it. You see the brown envelope, it's gone.
Yourself,
never a good letter comes in a brown envelope.
No. Apart from the V5 for the new vehicle that you
that's very true, actually.
Which has been transported by the AUTOMOVER.
Oh, look at that seamless plug.
Or it's a tax rebate, mate. I've had a cut of tax rebate hit the
Don't know what one of those is.
Yeah, I've had a cut.
What is ant tax?
Tax?
I have a rebate, you just don't know what tax is. You know what I mean? Never paid it. Don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's what Starmer keeps wanting from us at the moment.
Yes.
Don't
get up.
No politics, Reg.
Fuck off. We're going to talk about politics in a minute. I've got a right old rant to kick off about, but we won't do it now. I won't spoil it now.
Wait. Yeah, right. Shall we get on with what we're going to do on this show? Because I feel like we've got a lot to do and a sort of limited time to do it in, gentlemen. So I came up with an idea for a show in Marlon's absence. Not because, I don't know, just thought I wanted to do it and it sounded like a good idea.
Fuck Marlon.
And also, to be fair, we could have just really burned it down. But I was like, we could just go on like a rant.
Can we go burn it down, please?
We could get as a map of the world and we just be really racist about all of them.
That's a lot. I've got the tablet here. Let's go.
France, worst Muslim country in the world.
I thought that was Slough.
We're doing a history show, boys. We're doing a history show. No real specifics to what history. I just asked the boys, have you got any interesting things from history that you want to talk about? Some tales, whether they be short or long, about events or people or anything. It's like the History Channel, but with more racism. Welcome back to the Doghouse. Right.
Tonight's subject, slavery.
Who would like to start?
Go on, Gilo, you got an essay prepared?
Oh, fucking, I don't want to do this.
Well, you normally come first, so what's the difference?
Hey!
Well, I don't mind.
Not what your mum
I don't
says.
mind. I just got to pour a couple drinks. I'll do whatever. Yes, I'll do yours as well.
Thank you, darling.
That's okay. I'm going to be doing doing this on behalf of Gilo. Gilo's written all of this, but because he's got autism.
I got autism, dyslexia, and bum AIDS. I just
Right.
can't fucking do it.
All right, I'll do my best. I like that.
Shaq, I wouldn't bother going back to work, mate. I can get so many benefits on that.
This is the story of possibly the worst naval deployment in history. Thanks to Fit and Matt for this. This is the story of the last and spoiler only voyage of the Russian Second Pacific Squadron and fleet that goes down in infamy as possibly the worst body of men and machinery ever put to sea. A floating disaster that literally drove some insane and would ultimately find its end in the Battle of Tsushima. How, I hear you cry, dear scumbag? Well, settle in and listen to Nancy Uncle Gilo, actually Reg, but Gilo's words, and sit upon my metaphorical knee as I recount to you a tale of fuck-ups, incompetence, and general inability that would rival a Doghouse weekend at Butlins. I take you back to 1904 in the Russo-Japanese War, and on outbreak, it was discovered that the Russian
Marlon's rubbing off on you, isn't he?
Pacific port at Port Arthur was more of a curse than a blessing. It was a warm water port, something that the Russians sorely lacked, as most of their ports were cold water, like Murmansk in the Kola Peninsula. But Port Arthur was also easily cut off from land-based support, being at the end of the peninsula and its location being easy pickings for the Japanese artillery, as well as it being so far across the country that not even Chris Bradford would do it for cash. The port was so shallow that larger ships could also enter it on high tide, and even then they would still run a risk of grounding. On top of all that, the officers stationed there were so incompetent and so poorly trained that you could have had a week of toolbox talks and they still wouldn't have been trusted with leading any sensible fight with the Japanese, who weirdly had competent and trained officers that could lead. It's like Keith, the Mad Pineapple, and possibly American Dan and respective gun collectors going up against Reg, armed with a shotgun, a can-do attitude, and a YouTube certificate in Fleet Command. With dismissal, with dismal land campaign, and in fact the Japanese understood the uses of mines and artillery meant Port Arthur was on the verge of falling. In response, Tsar Nicholas II sent Admiral Markov, a somewhat unconventional but very capable officer, and was the best officer that Russia had at the time. Admittedly, it wasn't hard compared to his competition. Markov had managed to turn things around using coordinated battle tactics and doctrine, as well as proper artillery training for the crews. But as with all things that Russian, the phrase "and then it got worse" comes to bear when the flagship, the Petropavlovsky,
I think.
Petropavlovsky
I don't know.
of the Russian First Pacific Fleet hit a mine, and the explosion sent debris and shrapnel flying, which decapitated Admiral Markov and deprived Russia of one of its most capable battleships and its best naval commander at the same time. So the Tsar determined not to lose to the Japanese, and having effectively two fleets pinned down in Port Arthur and
Vladivostok.
I'll tell you what, Reg, you need to put your flipping 3-step of Adidas on and get yourself in the zone. Because you're struggling here, brother.
I'm sorry to put you through this, Reg.
Mate, it's the big words.
Fuck your life! Bing bang!
Whatever.
Age is back.
Vladivostok, respectively, and their inability to break the Japanese blockade. So the new commander had to be found. Fortunately, Russia had two other fleets, the Baltic and the Black Sea Fleet. So From these, Russia would have to assemble a new task force, calling it the Second Pacific Fleet, and then sail it around the world from the Baltic Sea to Japan. Unfortunately, Russia had a problem. They had no refueling or supply ports along the intervening 18,000 miles, and the rules of war not allowing neutral countries to provide aid on a scale that a fleet this size would need, coupled with the fact that Russia wasn't very popular with most imperial powers, especially Britain, which controlled most of the bases, and with the fleet that wasn't designed to sail this far or through tropical environments, crossing the equator several times. The Russians brought their customary Russian attitude to this with ignoring it and carrying on regardless. So with the new command, Rear Admiral Zinovy Petrovich. Oh God, there's another one.
There's another itch.
Roheskinenvi. Oh God,
Abramovich.
R-Ski, we'll call him. Zinovy Petrovich R-Ski was appointed to the Second Pacific Fleet with the ensemblement of a mostly geriatric but on paper powerful fleet of over 30 ships. They set sail with a plan of chartering freighters to resupply at sea or at neutral ports.
You're doing amazing. I love you for doing this. Thank you.
That could be persuaded to allow the fleet to dock. The fact that coaling. Oh, you bastards.
He's only 2 pages in.
Got an 18 to go, yeah.
The fact that coaling a ship was hazardous and difficult and an exhausting job when tied up at dock, and the fact that nobody had ever tried refueling an entire coal-powered fleet at sea, you guessed it, was ignored. Work quality and ethic was typically Russian, with the new battleship Yule. While being fitted out to join the Second Fleet, someone removed some of the sheathing and fucked off home, forgetting battleships need their hulls to be intact to float. Which then, somewhat surprisingly to the crew on board, sank, resulting in having to refloat and repair, and the fitters in question getting a stern talking to and possibly a written warning from HR. With that, Arsky was also told...
Was there a video? Just right then.
With that, Arsky was also told that his ships only had enough ammunition for a major contact and a small reserve, but not enough for any gunnery practice along the way. The fleet made up of 9 battleships, 3 coastal battleships, 9 destroyers, 9 cruisers, and 9 auxiliary ships, including a hospital ship, icebreaker, and a fleet repair ship, and a sizable fleet for the engagement. The list of issues with their ships didn't end with their age. Most of the rank and file were conscripts for central Russia, and the fleet had spent most of its winter iced up in port. So most of them had never been to sea before, and in fact, most of them had never actually seen the sea before. With that, there had been a very limited period of time to train said conscripts, who had the same educational standards as Hector has a hairline. Not
to be honest with that, it sounds like the Russians today. It sounds like they're using the same fucking ships.
Non-existent, with one officer quipping, one half of the crew need to be trained in everything because they know nothing, and the other half they have forgotten everything because because what they do know is so obsolete and out of date. As everything in 1900s Russia, there was various revolutionary groups who were trying to stir up unrest amongst the crews. But you may, dear listener, wonder why the fleet was so woefully short of experienced men and so poorly maintained. Was because better ships and more experienced manpower was already fighting the Japanese, and most of them had been lost or destroyed. The officers themselves were as much use as a lesbian in a gay orgy with no war-fighting experience. Arsky, who was not overly happy with his assignment, and even less to his senior subordinates, calling one a manure sack and another a vast empty space. And this was before they'd even set sail. Arsky, before, had well-trained and disciplined officers and crews, but now he had outright insubordinate officers that would anchor their ships in the shadow of larger battleships out of sight of the flagship and piss off into port to get steaming. When it finally came to getting underway and the flavour of the voyage was set early when the flagship ran aground and one of the escorts lost its chain and anchor while waiting for the flagship to refloat and the cruisers to retrieve its anchor, one of the destroyers decided to crash into the battleship and had to return to port for repairs. With these minor altercations overcome, the fleet started across the Baltic Sea and on the Danish and onto the Danish coast, where in true carry-on style, the first of a literal shit ton of hilariously misinformed panics began to spread. Hysterical sailors began to yell that they are all doomed because they're doomed. Because there was a fleet of Japanese torpedo boats waiting for them in the narrows between Denmark and Sweden. The small matter that Japan didn't have enough torpedo boats to consist of a fleet, and that they weren't known for doing it in speeds of excess of 300 knots or had the range to make it 18,000 nautical miles to Denmark, was completely ignored for what people wanted to believe. A few days later, the fleet managed to damage the fleet of colliers that had been sent to resupply the fleet, but due to collisions and inept manoeuvring, the icebreaker that had been assigned to the fleet was handled so poorly that Arski had to fire several shots over its bow to get it to stop after it refused to acknowledge the Admiral's signals.
Blit, you slow down now, yes? You stop, bastard, stop!
Which he then sent it home, possibly again to see said member from HR to receive a written warning. Further rumours had started to spread that the Japanese had mined the seas and the Japanese submarines were out there and so on. So much so that the orders were given not to allow any ships inside the convoy. Right on cue, a small Danish fishing vessel carrying a message from the Tsar appeared. In response, the hysterical gun crews opened fire, and a short while later, completely unharming the vessel, the completely unharmed fishing vessel was alongside the flagship, handing them said messages to the Admiral, stating for his troubles he'd been promoted to Vice Admiral, with the fishermen remarking on the amazing gunnery of the combined fleet, and then sailed off pissing themselves. Oh. At this point in the story, I would like to introduce the fleet repair ship, the Kamchatka.
No, the
Kamchatka.
Is that some sort of sushi?
It sounds a bit like that, doesn't it?
A little bit orient, a bit fruity, isn't it?
Whom everyone would become regrettably familiar with. She enters our account with the signal saying she was under attack from torpedo boats. When asked how many, she responded with about 8 from all directions. Eventually, someone twigged that no one could see so much as a seagull, let alone 8 exceptionally lost torpedo boats. When quizzed on this, the Kamchatka refused to admit that it was a false alarm, saying that it had altered course and that the boats had gone away. Having survived the attacks from the non-existent Japanese submarines, minefields, and not forgetting the torpedo boats, the fleet sailed into the North Sea and straight into an ambush from more torpedo boats with their sails and fishing nets. That's right, they had come across the whole trawler fleet out on the Dogger Bank. Dutifully, the fleet opened fire, throwing everything they had at the perceived ambush. Several Russian ships signaled that they had, of course, been hit with torpedoes. On one battleship, some of the crew donned their life jackets and led prone on the deck, waiting for the impending sinking, while others ran around, waving cutlasses and pistols, saying they were being boarded by the Japanese.
Where's the rum gone?
In the firefight, the Russians managed to damage 4 British trawlers and sank another one. 7 of the battleships managed to completely miss the trawlers and set about 2 of their own cruisers. Fortunately, with only minor damage, although the ship's chaplain would later die from his injuries, so silver lining, they started to get their eye in, so less they killed the priest. Oh, in the cold light of day, and some may have said their saving grace, it was that the gunnery was so laughably shocking that the overall damage was to a minimum. Understandably, the British Admiralty was refusing to believe that the attack had been accidental and moved on to activate the Channel Fleet, which outnumbered the Russians 2-1, and the Mediterranean Fleet in Gibraltar, bringing the combined fleets outnumbered the Russians 4-1. The Tsar quickly apologised.
Awfully sorry.
The Russians first knew of this when they were surrounded by the Royal Navy. After After review of the horrible gunnery of the Dogger Bank episode, Admiral Beresford, in a letter back, proposed a chivalrous plan of only using 4 of his battleships to engage the Russians, but to hold the rest back in reserve just in case they got a bit sporting. Furious diplomatic signals from the Russian and British were sent, narrowly averting a British order to open fire, with the Russians having concessions put on them, where the officers that were responsible for the Dogger Bank debacle were sent home. Arski saw this as an opportunity to offload some officers that would have been critical to his command from the start. Also, so they could return some more of the ships from what was left in Russia. A new fleet of older but best part fucked ships. There were called the Sink by themselves.
We're called the Sink.
We're called the Sink themselves by themselves squadron. The fleet had now left European waters and finally shot off the. The fleet had now left European waters and finally shot of the British that were shadowing them. In all the excitement, the Kamchatka had vanished, and they had been gone for some days and were all hoping that she had been lost for good. But poor Arski wasn't that lucky. With her arrival, she reported that she had shot 300 shells with an engagement with 3 Japanese ships, but had in fact shot a Swedish merchantman, a German trawler, and a French schooner. What is a French schooner?
It's like a schooner.
Schooner.
It's like a little sailboat sort of job.
Putting the Russians at odds with most of the imperial powers in the region, with massive
navies.
Navies, sorry. Never seen navies written as plural. Fortunately, everyone else...
We had lots.
Yeah.
If anyone's going to know, it should be us.
Fortunately, everyone else had worked out the appalling captaincy and gunnery on the Kamchatka, and the fact that it hadn't hit anything meant the issue was swept under the carpet and did not start a major incident. Fast forward to the fleet leaving Tangier, one of the ships managed to sever an underwater communication cable with her anchor, knocking out communications for 4 days. Steaming on to West Africa, the fleet was coming to the end of their coal supplies and needing refueling. With that, they met up with German merchant ships that were told to take on double loads to see them to Japan. This was dutifully done, storing on deck and in passageways and in lockers anywhere it could be stored. The only problem with this, that with coal comes dust, and it's like pouring petrol on every inch of surface and trying to light a match. Not only did they turn their ships basically into fuel air bombs, as they passed down Africa with the increase in humidity, the dust started coating everyone's throat and lungs in a thick black gunk, killing a few sailors with respiratory issues. Continuing on, the fleet finally sailed into a storm, cleaning the deck and giving everyone some respite from the dust. Enter our old friend, the Kamchatka. When asked of her status in general roll call, instead of signalling back she was fine, she sent, do you see the torpedo boats? Which immediately started a panic as the fleet started looking for the mythical torpedo boats bobbing around in the Atlantic storm.
Were they all on meth?
They must have been. They must have been off their fucking tits. A lot of them.
My God, I see torpedo boats. They're all over there.
This is what happens when you run out of vodka and you start making your own.
Arski, to take out his rage, started naming ships and captains that annoyed him. Namely, the slutty old geezer, the polished fidget, the brainless nihilist, the guard's uniform hanger, and others. Also, when in fits of rage, Arski had a habit of throwing his binoculars overboard. Fortunately, Arski staff had prior experience with this and brought no less than 50 pairs with him. But when it got too much, he would stand on the bridge wing and scream the 5 miles to the lecherous slut, the nickname for the Kamchatka. As the fleet passed Cape Town, the fleet received signal for one Captain Clato. Yeah?
Clato.
Clayto.
Now, Clato.
What, Clato?
Who was one of the captains he had put off find more ships. But more because he was an aristocratic pain in the dick, asking for his position and a rendezvous point. Arsky simply refused to acknowledge the signal because the reinforcements were going to be even more geriatric rusting tubs than the ones that he had already had, and would have been no benefit than to add mayhem. Plus, Clayto was a bit of a dick, and Arsky couldn't be dealing with him. Fortunately for Arsky, a British official signalled to the fleet to warn them that there was another British fishing fleet operating out of Durban, just in case. While passing Madagascar, the fleet received word that the first Pacific Fleet in Port Arthur had been overrun, and a very real concern that the Japanese could refloat some of the Russian battleships and bring them into action against the Second Fleet upon arrival in the Sea of Japan. To lift the crew's low morale, the crews were allowed to collect exotic pets from their shore visits. Unfortunately, what the crew had a misjudged view as to what constitutes suitable suitable passage for a warship, with the list including crocodiles and poisonous snakes that wrapped itself around the main guns and then bit the commanding officer who tried to remove it.
I've had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking boat.
To be fair, with the addition of the venomous snake on board, it probably increased the offensive power of the ship in question considerably. Arsky was sent a parrot that would learn Arsky's vast collection of Russian swear words and the literal boatload of chameleons, which proved difficult to find when they escaped. The fleet has gone from being a floating diplomatic disaster to a set of mobile fuel air bombs that was having a stab at being the world's largest seaborne zoo, with a bewildering number of birds and animals we are left to wonder. We're left to wander the ship looking for tidbits, causing the sailor too scared to sleep, just in case they came in for a midnight snack. To add to this, the Esperance, the Esperance, the refrigerated supply ship, had decided to have a breakdown of refrigerators and had to dump hundreds of tons of rotting meat overboard, thus completing the sea life element of the zoo. Now, in the Indian Ocean, Arsky, after months of commanding the fleet from hell, was taken ill and confined to his quarters, while his chief of staff had suffered a brain hemorrhage and was paralysed from one side down, basically leaving no one in command. So, with the menagerie was complete, the crew took to enjoying the local facilities, and an outbreak of typhoid, dysentery, malaria, not counting every STD known to modern medicine. During the funeral for one of her dead, the Kamchatka, but of course it being the Kamchatka, used a live shell which hit another ship. Mental health began to really drop as one officer started walking around half naked, asking if people feared death. I'm predicting Armageddon. To be fair, the way their luck had been, you could see why. The Kamchatka reported she was sinking. Much merriment came from this, not only for it to be quashed when, after investigation, she had only cracked a steam pipe and depression was reinstalled. Gilo? Yeah? Okay.
Something like that. You got to remember, it's me, a dyslexic kid, wrote all this. So, I apologise, dear listener.
No, that's all right, mate. No. I mean, mine would be 10 times worse, trust me. Back in European water, the Third Pacific Fleet was getting underway under Admiral Nabokov, yeah. Much to the disgust of Arsky, who referred to the fleet as the archaeological fleet of naval architecture, and was determined not to meet up with the fleet and took steps to avoid them at all costs. Some good news: the fleet finally met up with the supply ship G-Cov, we call that, which they hoped was carrying supplies of food, ammunition, letters from home, only to find out it was full of letters they had sent from Madagascar the month before and boxes of fur coats after getting lost on its way home. So the letters they'd sent home came back to them.
Literally, he'd done a massive loop and he saw the first ship. He was like, oh, I'll drop it off. And it was, there's no letters.
Unfortunately for Arsky, the Third Fleet had caught up using the Suez Canal, forcing him to accept defeat and added the fleet to his own. The Japanese had been monitoring the Russian fleet all along, and after Arsky had sent the colliers away from Korea, Admiral Togo worked out that the fleet was heading for the shortest route through the Korean Strait and set up an ambush. That thus starts the Battle of Tsushima, and that's for another day.
Oh, hurrah.
How
well done, mate, for reading all that, because I couldn't.
Yeah, 10 out of 10, Reg.
Yeah, fair shout to you, mate.
I wasn't overly impressed with my reading, but I did my best.
That's a round of applause.
Mate, that's a round of applause for you for writing 14 fucking pages.
Now you can see why I was late.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
I thought it was just bone idleness, but no,
Well,
I'll give you that.
it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. But no, thank you for doing that, mate. Appreciate it.
I mean, thank you for writing it.
Right,
Sorry for the biggest sip of cider.
Just don't have a look at my search history.
Mate, what a clusterfuck.
Childish nuns.
What a clusterfuck.
Mate, it's a thing, isn't it? And that's me abbreviating it down because I'd still be there writing it now.
That's abbreviated, is it?
That's a slightly
Why
abbreviated.
did they need to use guns for everything? They're like, signal to your friend. Boom.
Reg.
Oh, no.
Reg, what is your default?
Oh, yeah. I think it was Rich and Jack sent me a meme the other day, and it was that Bugs Bunny one where it's like, Reg, you can't sort everything with a gun. He's like that against the bar.
You're more like Clarkson in Top Gear Ground Force. There's only one tool you need for gardening, and I've got it. This is an over and under hoe.
But yeah, no, it was just fucking madness. Absolute madness.
Because that was Tsar Nicholas II.
Tsar Nicholas II.
He was the last Tsar of Russia, wasn't he?
You can see why they done him off, like, you know what I mean?
You can see why they're still fucked up now and not doing any good, are they?
Oh, not really.
Nothing's changed, is it?
It hasn't. Nothing at all.
I think we did him a dirty not supporting Tsarist Russia during the revolution, personally, because I think what they got after
needed
that
it.
Was fucking hideous. Yeah, they needed it. Jesus. I mean, Tsar Nicholas was a god-awful leader.
He was horrendous.
And then his wife's getting ran train on by old fucking furry. Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen.
Oh, yeah, no, he was, because...
Some say he was the OG cuck chair inventor. He's the reason why every Premier Inn's got a chair in the corner.
Fucking brilliant. Have you seen The Last Tsars on Netflix?
No. I'll watch it.
Well, I'll check it's still on there. You will love it, Gilo. It's so good. It's like half drama, half documentary.
Yeah,
so they do like a bit of drama, and then there's a guy talking to the camera, and it's like, and the Russian Tsars. And I'm like, yeah, tell me more. I'm fucking loving this.
Why am I not surprised that Reg just watched a documentary on this?
He's sat on that chair in the corner.
How many times have you cucked yourself watching a documentary?
I'm waiting for Stacey Dooley to do one. It's still on there.
I'm Stacey Dooley, and this is the Russian fleet in 1909.
It's called The Last Tsars. If anyone wants to watch it,
I'll have a watch it up.
Czars. It's absolutely 6 parts, so it goes all the way from
a bit like your story.
Tsar Nicholas's father, who was, is it Tsar Nicholas I or Tsar someone? Basically, Tsar Nicholas's father dies, and it goes all the way from there to the Russian Revolution, the Bolshevik Revolution. Yeah, really good. Worth a watch. Just putting it out.
But yeah, so apologies for the long fucking winded one, but I thought it was quite good.
I don't apologise. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed that. That was 14 fucking pages, Gilo. There's me just like, Gilo, Chat GPT's lit. You're like, I can't. I'm too type. I've researched it. I can hear it in the background.
That's what he was doing yesterday when I messaged him. As soon as you said to me, you coming on and doing what you was doing, I thought, right, I better message Gilo and find out what the fuck he's going to do, because I don't want to deconflict. You imagine we come in with the same stories. Well,
I don't think that's going to happen, Keith.
Compete with that with Keith.
Well, Keith, you know what I mean? Basically, I've got this fucking long burner, right? And I thought, here we go. So I've got one to back that story.
Go on.
Yeah. So this one is the sinking of the U-1206 by its own toilet.
Get on.
I'm just waiting for Keith to go. There was the U, whatever it was, 1206. It sunk.
Well,
anyway, we're going to a break.
So I thought I'd come with a couple of short burners. Do you know what I mean?
Fair one, mate.
But the thing, when you said about this history stuff, the only thing I can always come up with is bloody military stuff.
Mate, that's all I've
That's
done.
all it is, isn't
That's
it?
all I've got.
It's always the funny one. So here we go. So the U-1206 was a German submarine fitted with an advanced toilet, which was necessary for it to flush when submerged. Due to the complex nature of the pressure systems needed to eject the waste, technicians were required to flush the toilet. One day, some genius decides that he's got this, tries to flush it himself, and then resulting in flooding that reaches the batteries and then releases some chlorine gas.
But
Nice.
Rather than being killed by the poisonous gases, they decide to surface the sub, whereupon they're promptly located and then bombed. This all happened during U-boat's first active patrol. So it wasn't just the Russians fucking up, it was also the Germans.
Mate, that's fucking
holy
brilliant.
shit.
Fuck your life! Bing bang!
That's hideous.
That's bad, that, isn't it?
So the toilet malfunctions, sprays water inside, hits the batteries, creates chlorine gas. They're all choking. They surface and get torpedoed.
Oh mein Gott, we must surface the submarine. Oh no, the Americans are here.
Your son fought bravely in the Pacific Fleet against those krauts. Well, how did he die, officer?
He went to flush a floater and missed.
Your son was taking a shit at the time. We're ever so sorry, ma'am.
You have a good day now, you hear?
His dookie was the cause of the death of 400 men. That's fucking nuts.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, I love
You gotta love Reddit.
I wish I'd done some short ones now. Fucking that bollocks that essay. Westward after all the fucking day on that.
I really enjoyed it. Anything that involves Russian incompetency in war is
Problem
fantastic.
is everything that you say is Russian is also incompetency. You sit there and like how they build submarines. It's how the fucking things actually like leave the dock. I don't know.
How they tried to invade a country.
Papers
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
No paper derivative. No cardboard. No string. No sellotape.
What the fuck?
There's a minimum crew requirement. Well,
one.
one, I suppose.
For the longest time, I thought that was real because I didn't know the context. It was so well done, and they so well act that skit. I'm like, are they serious that the front fell off the ship?
But we towed it outside the environment.
To where?
Well, outside the environment, there's nothing out there. Just birds and sea and fish. And a fire. And 20,000 tons of crude oil. And the part of the ship, the front fell off. But apart from that, it's a wasteland. There's nothing out there at all.
Oh, right. We're going to cut to a break and get back into more, by the sounds of things, more historical fuck-ups. But before we do, a massive shout out to the sponsor of this episode, Airedale Finance. Listen up, guys. As you well know from last week's episode, our Labour government is bringing in some new legislation that limits the tax benefits on the double cab pickups. So you have up until April of 2025 to get on and buy yourself a double cab pickup. If you're thinking about doing it, now's the time. And the people to go get your financial services through is Airedale Finance. They are the ones that are going to find you the best and most competitive rate for you. Not only that, it's all about the deal that fits you. You go into the dealership, you get the 3, you get the 5, you get PCP, or you get HP, and that's all you get. But that might not suit you. And the thing is, everything they have is cookie cutter, and everyone's getting a little backhander in the dealership. The salesman's getting a bit, the finance guy's getting a bit, the dealership itself is getting a bit. That's the problem with finance deals through dealerships. There's always a load of middlemen with their hand out trying to have a little bit of yours. That's why recently a load of people are getting money back from 25% commissions that dealerships were taking, and was being tacked. That 25% was being tacked onto your finance that you were paying off. So you were paying finance on a dealer's commission, which is madness. So negate all of that and go through an independent broker. And who you should be dealing with is Airedale Finance. Look, if you're half thinking about a pickup, if you're thinking, you know what, I need to lose some money this year, I should go get myself a pickup, that you only have a limited time to do it. These double cab pickups, the deals on them, I assume over the next few months are going to be some cracking deals out there, because they're going to want to shift the stock that they have got, because they obviously know their sales are going to take a plummet from April onwards. So get yourself into a good deal, get yourself locked into a deal that suits you with Airedale Finance. It's going to suit you, whether it's a large deposit or a small deposit over a short or long period. They will find you the perfect deal that fits you at the lowest rate they can find from hundreds of different lenders. Let them find that for you. Big up to the guys at Airedale Finance for sponsoring the show. Check them out. A link in the episode description, link in the bio. Right, we're going to go get...
Hey, Dan.
How did you know it was Dan? Right. Yeah, I'm going to go get drink of the week and we'll be back shortly. Love you, bye. No, we don't.
Sack him.
Do so well. Do so
It's
well.
like premature ejaculation, isn't it?
Oh dear.
He's got all excited.
Oh.
She was just too pretty, wasn't she?
Wipe it off and apologise. We go again.
And we're back, and it's time for drink of the week. Right, Hector, what have we got? Who brought it for us? Well, I actually brought it for us. It's been in my house for ages.
This has been bought for us by a very content listener of the podcast. Some say he's listened to every episode we've ever done.
Twice.
It's Reg.
Hey! It's actually I bought this with my own money as well. It's actually my contribution to the show. Right.
Fuck off, Doghouse was paying.
Without any...
Put it in a farm or some shit like that, then he.
Stop perpetuating the
Farm
lie.
account.
Right, without any further ado, Hector, please, can you read the marketing bullshit?
Smirnoff Mango and Passion Fruit Twist flavoured vodka. Smirnoff Mango and Passion Fruit Twist flavoured vodka is bold, tropical, and has a delicious, juicy taste with natural fruit flavours. This Smirnoff flavour pairs best with lemonade or pineapple and cranberry juice.
I feel
What's with a spicy voice?
I feel... No, don't
Can
knock
you do
it. Don't
fucking
knock
Kermit
it.
the
Don't knock
Crab?
it. That's like audio Viagra.
Kermit the Frog.
No.
So, Reg, what we've got today is it's a vodka with some flavours in it.
Yes, he's getting the judge out.
I'm gonna go fuck Miss Piggy while you shoot me in the back of the head.
I'm sorry, mate, but I felt sexy as fuck. Listen, I really did. That was bringing out feelings in me I didn't know I had.
Even I was starting to feel pregnant.
Right.
That's a rare thing.
What? Let's see what we think then. It's got it over ice, meant to be served with lemonade, but I think it's better on its own. What do we think? Everyone's sort of no. I'm seeing a lot of no's around the
No,
table.
it's not. No, the initial hit is vodka, but then the aftertaste of the flavour where you
No,
get...
you got a background of mango there, but that's about it.
Have you ever had someone throw a passion fruit Four Loko at your head? It's like that. It's there, but it's not
smashed in the face by a
distinct.
Four Loko.
Yeah.
To be fair, the ice has been in there for a hot minute, so it is somewhat watered down.
Yeah, but
that's you know them little fucking urinal cubes you get in the toilets.
Yeah.
No, they taste sweeter than this.
Is this how it feels when people send beer in a week in and we just slate it? Because I feel really sad. I love this. This is my little white girl drink.
Get back on your seat in the corner, right?
All right, Charlie's not a fan.
It'd be all right with a bit of lemonade in it or something.
Yeah, maybe a bit of lemonade. All right, that might bring it right out.
Everybody
You know?
wants something, don't they? Just having a little bit of gold in there. That's this new fucking Thatcher's fusion.
Let's try a turbo twist.
Tell you what, though.
Stop adding shit to it. You're ruining it.
Enhancing it.
Look, it started badly. It tailed off a little in the middle, and the less said about the end, the better. But apart from that, it was
fuck
fucking
me.
perfect.
That blows it right up. Bang a bit of Red Bull in their drive.
I can't do that. I've already
Go
got
on.
gold in it.
Uh-oh.
No, I don't like that.
No.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
No,
I'm
fuck me.
Stacey Dooley, and I'm here at the Smirnoff factory.
I'm going back to Potweld in a minute.
Don't go through the bus gate.
Who knew they had Land Rover parking on the dance floor?
It's because I'd be shot blasted glasses on, couldn't see where I was going.
I am not paying for new lenses. They can get fucked.
Don't. I'm just going to bought some.
Why don't you fucking sign up to the army, mate, and get a set of ACOGs?
Yeah, but you see how thick those lenses were. Like, Jesus Christ.
They're already fucking like.
Even come with a red dot graticals, mate.
Keith, I reckon if we pin him down with a Sharpie, we'll be able to put some ACOGs in there for him. We'll get a ruler out, measure it and everything.
Put some mil dots down there.
Oh, he's at 400 yards.
Calling it an MOA on the score, son.
I can have 22 LR and 17 on each one. Just close each eye.
What do you have for the Taurus? Shut both and hope.
Quite good at the moment, anyway.
Sir, the enemy is in that general direction. Roger, removing that general direction.
What are you doing, Reg? Hold over.
Fuck you guys. Where's Marlon? I would have thought Marlon would have been my defender. He's the last line of defense against you cunts. Right, what are we saying on the TripAdvisor for Smirnoff, mango, and passion fruit twist?
I'm going to have a shot out of it out of the bottle cap just to see what it's like with no ice in it.
I like it. It's one of my favourites. Not like the best thing in the world, but it is a proper little white girl
Do you know what it reminds me of? Some of the t-shirts you wear, mate. It's fucking colourful, isn't it?
It's fruity.
Yeah.
A little bit gay.
Spicy as fuck.
Like literally, if it weren't for the fact that he had a missus, I would call him as gay as fuck.
I would call him as gay as fuck.
As gay as fuck.
That made about as much sense as
and I
your
have
story.
slept with a man. He's gayer than me.
I'll give it a 4. I really like it. It's one of my favourite sort of spirits. I like to get white girl wasted on it. This is my AU vodka to everyone else that likes AU vodka.
I'll be honest with you, love. It ain't for me. It's not for me. It sort of just tastes like vodka with a bit of mango in it. And
okay. The mango's pretty powerful, I won't lie.
Yeah, it sort of starts shit, then you go, oh, mango, and then it's shit again. So, yeah, that's not for me, my love.
What are you giving it?
Because it's you and you look really sad, I'll give it a 3.
You've just slated it and you've given it a 3.
He's haggled himself up.
Yeah.
Basically, look at them. Well, you can see like the fucking retinas of those little fucking sad eyes.
I can see into his future with them glasses on.
I wish I could do the same, but I can't. You know.
What's it like being the world's first Somerset Hubble telescope?
I bet you can see Uranus.
Right, Keith, where are you?
I think I'm on with a Gilo on this one. It's a 3, and it's only because you're my mate.
Isn't it? It is.
No,
it's petty schools, right?
It does taste nice. It does taste nice, but it's not something I could sit and drink all night. If I'm honest with you, it's not. It wouldn't be a go-to.
It tastes better Red Bull, doesn't it?
No, not really. If I went into a boozer and Reg was like, "Hey, Keith, I've got you this really nice drink," you know,
he'd end up pregnant.
Dole introduced it to me, you know, have a couple of these.
Oh,
I would lose all my masculinity.
Yeah.
I'd lose all that fucking testosterone, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
You know, and then the girls would start owing me money.
Yeah.
So, no, I like the flavour of it, but I wouldn't. If I've had one, I'd drink it, but I wouldn't go for another.
Right.
So yeah, we're going for a 3 on that one, mate.
What about you, H? What are you saying, man?
I'm at a 4 because
Yeah.
I might well be, but you're next.
Fucking tease me with a good time, you cunt.
You know I deliver.
Flirt.
No, I'm at a 4. It's the same strength as normal vodka, but it doesn't taste anywhere near as bad. So for me, it's better than normal vodka, and therefore,
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'd give it a 4. Because if you told me, oh, I've got your vodka lemonade, I'd be like, nah, all right, brev. But for that and lemonade, groovy.
I love
Like
how
lemonade and
Brev
squash.
has got into the whole
I've
vernacular.
got it into the lexicon now.
That's it. It's there.
It's in the
Everybody's
zeitgeist.
Brev counters at 5.
Yeah, breath count is mad.
Just because I find myself as the elder statesman of this here fucking cult, I'll go brethren just to fucking push it. You know what I mean?
I've got a staff saying breath now as well at the farm.
Gilo, you're the only one whose birthday says BC.
It is. Big cock.
Before communism.
We were trying to catch 150 kilo
PC.
Angus the other day, and one of them went, "He's moving mad, breath." I was like, "Yes, team, yes. This is why you're all getting a good Christmas too."
It's when the old man starts ringing you up, Reg, isn't it? Brev. Right.
Brev!
It's not looking good.
It's not looking good, Brev!
Anyway.
Bloody Defender's been stolen again! That's 3 times this week! Brev! Oh, Reg, where did you park it, by the way? Because it's not outside anymore.
Don't tell me that. I got 4 phone calls.
Right, listeners, you have no idea the speed that Reg just grabbed his phone and made sure there wasn't a notification on it.
Right, we're gonna flip. With 2 4s, 2 3s. Heads is 4. Tails is 3. Ooh.
Oh.
It's tails. It's 3. 3 out of 5 for Smirnoff, mango, and passion fruit twist. I highly recommend it, listeners. But you know, apparently everyone else thinks I'm a queer.
I didn't. Well,
He looks like a
I
queer.
just think he's a bit fruity.
And he sounds like a queer.
I
He
think
walks like a queer, but he has a bloody good shot.
I think he must be a queer.
Right, over to you, H.
Right, for the ad read after drink of the week, we must introduce Gilo's Leather Company.
What? New sponsor alert!
Oh, new sponsor
I didn't get
alert!
nothing. You know what I mean? You spend all this money. I didn't
But
get
like
the fucking-
really old new sponsor alert.
Yeah, I know. It's crap. isn't it,
Ancient
really?
sponsor alert.
Love you. cunts.
Here at Gilo's Leather Company, we are makers of all things leather, bags, wallets, twink sex harnesses. You want it, we'll make it. From everyday items and stock products to custom commissions. Hit me up on Instagram for a quote. Don't be afraid to ask for your weird and wonderful ideas. Whatever your brain can conjure up, he can create it. Gilo's Leather Company is the OG of custom leather creations, with over 50 years in the industry. Gilo's Leather Company is your one-stop shop for leather and forging needs. Cow skin or stone extract, Gilo's Leather Company is the one for you. Do not hesitate to call today.
Oh my God. That was
I'll
good.
tell you what, mate.
That's
If trucking
brilliant.
don't work for you, QVC's the way forward, all right?
No, not be funny. Just do a sexy audiobook. No, just literally read the paper sexily. And that'll do for me. You know what I mean? Literally,
he
you are the thing
delicately-
that Viagra cannot fucking touch.
As he delicately pulled her panties down.
Reg, pass
You
me the
realise-
judge, mate. I've had enough. Yeah, you for him, it's for me.
All of a sudden, I got to go with poo, boys. All right. I mean, back in a
Speaking of which, I want a thing for this. I'm not going to say it on the show. I want a thing for this.
5 out of 5.
And a matching sling for the Mossberg.
Yes, we need to get that sorted.
Outback, sort of that sort of orangey
He wants to
leather.
go full Rick
you know, the
Grimes.
ones, and just do whatever you want with the fucking.
Well, back the fuck up, Reg. I'm still waiting for my wallet.
Get in
in the
line
queue.
for
Get in the
Gilo's
queue.
fucking leather company.
Not be funny, mate, but people are giving me
Excuse
money.
me all.
People are giving me money. Give me
I'll
the
fucking give you money, mate. I was going to give you a fucking reach round as well, you.
Oh, like that. You didn't mention that. You would have gone straight to the fucking top of the list,
For
mate.
Gilo's Leather Company, press 1. For Gilo's Forging, press 2. For sexual favours, press 3. To hear this message again, hang up and ring again, you lazy motherfucker.
Thanks for that, Hector. That was awesome. I love that.
Where
mate.
can we find you on Instagram, Jilo?
Gilo's Leather Company. Or the Leather Company I've got on there now.
Yeah.
There is a website coming. It's still in the sort of production. I'm also doing DPRC stuff because the boys have they move on to bigger and better things.
That
and
is complete bollocks.
That has been going for 2.5 years now, and we are fucking proud of it.
we're like
It started out as a joke. How did it end up like this?
it started out as a joke.
How did it end up like this? We are all communists. How did it end with this?
So getting to the point now where we have to be very careful about certain thresholds that we don't hit. And Gilo's DPRC merch, I was like, you know what, Gilo? It's about. I think you've got some money left in your before you hit your next tax ban. How about you take it on now?
there better be some money left in the fucking pot or the fucking. You know what I mean?
You trust me. You can have what's in the DPRC war chest. You can have that. That's not a problem.
Yeah, so we
85 pence.
85 pence. Tax is a cunt.
Threepence.
Buttons, moths, and resentment.
It's not so much profit; it's more turnover that's becoming the issue.
Yeah, so we've got new DPRC merch coming out. That's going to get put on the website as well. So once that's up and running, obviously keep an eye on my Instagram and I'll post it.
We'll plug it and share it as soon as it's
Thank you very
up
much.
and live.
But so treat yourselves if you want something for your
I'll put a
wife,
link in the bio, link in the episode description. Check them out. Gilo's Leather Company. Bosh.
Link in your granny's knicker drawer.
Yeah.
Hey!
Right, should we
Thank
get
you much.
back into some war stories, gentlemen? It was meant to be a history episode, but we've all just done war stuff.
Whoa.
I feel like I've spoken far too much this show, as I do every show. Would you like to take it from here, H?
I could do.
Fuck, he's got a diary out.
That's only so I know where I am.
And they took the piss out of me and my post-it note that time.
I thought I would spin you a quick yarn about Sir Douglas Bader.
I love this guy.
Oh, Douglas Bader. Bless him, legless.
New sponsor alert! No, he's dead. But when he was alive, by fuck, he was some boy.
Yeah,
He was some boy. So he was born in 1910, and
Just before Gilo, then.
so no, he's 18 months after
Yeah,
Gilo.
yeah. I was up and kicking around by that boy, son. Do you know
His father and his brother-in-law were both in the. Oh no, his father was an engineer, and his brother-in-law was in the Royal Flying Corps in World War One.
Yep.
Obviously, when that was all kicking off, and he decided that he wanted to become a pilot. That was what he wanted to do. So a mixture of engineering and flying shit. In 19 so world goes on. We win the war. Fuck you, Jerry. 1928, he joins the RAF. He also joins Cambridge University, was an outstanding athlete in cricket, hockey, rugby, whatever you could picture. He was fucking outstanding at it. It was dibbed at the time in sort of 1928, 1929 that he was going to go and play international rugby for England. after he'd finished at Cambridge and sort of finished his...
Just guys are just a natural. He's one of those fuckers that anything he turns his hand to, he's good
100%.
at.
You could give him a sewing kit and he'd come out with like a sleeping bag in about 8 minutes. He's one of them. So 1930, he graduates as a full pilot rather than a cadet. And he was very, very quickly renowned in the biplanes of the time as a sort of a daredevil and a very, very talented pilot. He was doing things that the instructors were saying, oh, by the way, don't do that. And he was taking that as a to-do list and doing that and going, yeah, this is fucking easy. What are you on about?
I can imagine him even saying brev. You know what I mean?
He's that kind of dude. And he would rock it as well.
He was the OG brevinator. In 1930, obviously, he qualified as a pilot, very, very good. He immediately entered for, I can't remember off the top of my head which air show it was, but it was like an RAF who's the best of the best, like a Top Gun Maverick type scenario best of the best. He won it. Did really, really well. Obviously, he won. 1931, he was training for the 1931, sort of later in the year, air show to get back his crown. He was flying a Bristol, I can't remember what sort of Bristol, a plane, not a car, or a town.
He was flying a
How's your
Bristol.
bus lane tickets?
He was overtaken by Leeds.
He was overtaken by Red and his Land Rover because he was using a bus lane. He was flying his Bristol something or other, and he was doing something that he thought was impossible. And turns out he was right. He was 100% right. It was impossible. He caught the wingtip on the ground of his biplane and had a massive whoops, and ended up, he needed to be sort of cut out of the plane, but both of his legs had got trapped in the meantime. So his left leg was below the knee amputation, right leg was above the knee amputation. He was told by doctors instantly, you will never walk again, you'll never do anything. You will be, I don't like using the word, but an invalid for the rest of your life. That's it. So you can imagine everyone's surprise 5 months later, when not only had he learnt to walk on double prosthetics, but he'd learnt to drive, dance, and play non-contact sports again. He was playing, so from 5 months after his accident until the day he died, he was playing 36 holes of golf a day. Every day.
Jesus.
Like, religiously. Would not miss a day, apart from Sunday when he went to church. But
true
English. It was incredible.
Why are they always like religious zealots at the same time? You know,
because
what I mean?
It was sort of in the time of the world when everyone was religious and it was fine.
Oh, was it?
So June 1932, he returned to the RAF with the intention of becoming a pilot again. The RAF said,
no,
Lieutenant Dan, you've got no legs. And he said,
legs.
Brev, watch this. So it was agreed initially that if he went up with a trainer for a few flights and proved that he could still pilot a plane, he would be able to continue his flying career. He did that for a year until 1933, when the RAF all of a sudden, out of nowhere, said, it says nowhere in the King's Commission that a man with no legs should pilot an aeroplane. So he was then grounded. So he passed all the tests, did loads and loads of practice flying, and was, after a year of active duty, was told, no, you can't fly anymore. So April 1933 was grounded, and he then retired and went, you know what, fuck this, I'm going home. Found the woman of his dreams, married her, did lots of sex and babies and all that sort of shit, and carried on dancing, playing golf, living his best life. 1938, he went back to the RAF and said, I've heard rumblings. There's some distinct murmurings coming from the east.
Wow, Germany invades Poland.
Wow. It says, basically, let me know. If you need me, I am here.
Instantly,
Just give
the
me
phone
a
rings,
shout.
we'll have you back.
Exactly. So World War II starts. He gets the phone call from the RAF. He turns up as happy as a pig in shit. Like, I'm going to go. I'm going to fly again. It's going to be fucking amazing. And the RAF went, oh, you thought you were going to fly? Oh, no. You can be a secretary. And he went,
that's so cunty.
you fucking what now? And luckily, all of the friends that he'd acquired in flight school initially had now become sort of quite high up sort of officers in the RAF. So they pulled a few strings, and what they were able to sort of organise or
orchestrate.
Thank you very
Rustle
much.
up.
Love no, yours is shit. Yours is a garage burger. That was excellent. We're not on about rustlers.
Continue, H.
I love rustlers. So he was then able to fly again if he went through flight school again, which he'd already done. and completed. So he went through flight school again and sort of bit his tongue and, okay, so this is what makes the aeroplane go up. This is what makes it go down. Right, how do I make it go left and right? He played the idiot all the way through flight school as if he didn't know anything. The sort of last day of flight school is the first day that you get to fly solo. So he flew solo for the first time in a monoplane for the first ever time. Because when he crashed, they only had biplanes.
Yeah, so the First World War, yeah.
they were on the cusp of having Spitfires and Hurricanes. So he was in a monoplane. So the first thing he did after he passed his sort of test and was able to go for his first solo flight was invert the aircraft at, I've been told, 45 feet off the ground, flew over the instructors, flying with a knee and sticking a double V out of the cockpit at all the instructors, as if to say, "Look at me now, bitch."
He definitely had earbuds in, listening to the guitar solo from Freebird, didn't he?
Yeah, your man had Freebird on. He had the Moonlight remix.
Oh, I can't change.
Lord, help me. So he was then, obviously, all of the instructors went, well, you're a prick, but you've passed. So he was then able to actually fly Spitfires, because we're in 1939, the war started, Spitfires exist, and they're fucking great. He starts flying the Spitfire and he's pulling all sorts of maneuvers that no other pilot is able to produce. He's turning tighter, he's turning faster, he's able to turn for longer, aside from a negative G pushover, which a Spitfire won't do because it drowns the car. Not drowns, starves the carburetors. He's pulling maneuvers that no other pilot.
When I was in the F-14 and I watched him do it.
I was inverted.
Yeah. I give him the international sign of, you know what I mean? I
keeping up foreign relations.
Yeah, I flipped the bird, you know what I mean?
Giving him the finger. Yes, I know the finger,
you know what I mean?
It's a great Polaroid. It's a great picture. So anyway, he starts flying the Spitfire and he's like, this is fucking great. And initially, he's thinking that, shit, this plane must be fucking great. And after a while, he's realising that no one else can do what he's doing in the plane. Like, they can't turn as tight as he can. They can't turn as fast as he can. And he works out after a while, a few sort of training missions go by, and he realises it's the G-force. Obviously, for those who are stupid, G-force is what, it's gravity. Yeah, so if you turn in, the blood rushes away from your head and down to your feet. But he's in a very,
I didn't even think of that.
He's a very, very unique position, in which case, like,
He ain't got no legs.
G-force to him is essentially Viagra. Like, it can't send the blood to his feet, can it? It's going to the knee, and that's fucking it. So he can turn tighter without losing consciousness. He can really push the aircraft to its limit. But
it's testament to the aircraft that it will actually do that.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. The real limitation of the aircraft was the pilots. Yeah, not even in 1942 or 40 or whenever, was due to the pilots, not the plane. And as a result of this, he was sort of disliked by his superiors. So fast forward a little bit, we get to Dunkirk. Britain's going, oh shit, we fucked up. Get the French, get out of France. Operation Dynamo, as I'm sure you're all well aware.
Very much.
Gilo, you remember it.
I was there. Same person.
Built the Mulberry Harbour.
So he was in,
for that. A couple of bits floated off, but you know what I mean.
He was in the sky over Dunkirk at the time in a Spitfire. Now, he and his wingman both corroborate 5 kills, which would make him an ace straight away. 5 kills makes you a fighter ace. But because he was already disliked by his superiors and officers higher up than he knew, he only officially got accounted with 1 kill, because his kill ratio. So with a normal pilot, it was if you and your wingman saw it, yes, good enough, you killed him. But for him, because he was already disliked by the chain of command, it was him, his wingman, and an independent third party on the ground. It couldn't be a third party of another Spitfire or even a Messerschmitt. Had to be a third party on the ground, had to witness him shooting down a plane. So he only got 1 officially confirmed kill. Despite that, by the end of the Battle of, not the Battle of Britain, by the end of Operation Dynamo, he was promoted to squadron leader, and he was put in charge of, it was Squadron 242, which was a Canadian squadron of Hurricane pilots that they'd been in France since basically the beginning. So they were tired, they were out of shape, they had no tools, no money, no decent machines anymore. And he pulled strings, called favours, did everything he could to get his squadron on top, make it as good as it could be. And that made him even less liked with his direct superiors, because all of a sudden the subordinates are saying, God, Douglas Bader, he's some fucking boy. He's got us new planes, he's got us new guns, he's got us this, he's got us that, he's got us a coffee machine in the mess hall, we've even got a pinball machine out the back. Like, he's some fucking kiddie. And it was sort of well established after the war that there are two opinions of Sir Douglas Bader. One, that he was basically a superhero on Earth. He was unnaturally good at everything, even with no legs. Or that he was an absolute prick, but he was still really good in an aircraft. Like, no matter what anyone said about him.
You normally find he's somewhere in between. Not be funny, if you're that good, you're going to have a certain amount of arrogance about it, ain't you? You know what I mean? It's
if you've got the props to back it up, you can be as cocky as you like.
That's it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you've got to remember,
he was definitely writing checks that his body could cash.
Apart from his legs. 100-metre sprint was not his speciality anymore. But you have to remember,
hilarious to watch.
At the time, he was a double amputee in an ass-kicking contest, and he was fucking winning.
Oh, yeah, double time.
Like, and, you know, there was a war on. We were fighting Germany. He was fairly up against it. You'd be okay to assume that he was a bit chinny when it came to people asking his opinion on things. Like, fuck off, I've got things to do, like win a war.
Yeah.
So, you know, all of his subordinates loved him. They were like, Douglas, you're the boy. You're the man. Then the Battle of Britain happened, as I'm sure you're aware.
I was there.
You were one of the blimps, I'm sure.
I was.
Jesus Christ! You're sat in a very close vicinity to say that.
He knows I'm only going to fuck him. That's all I'm going to do. You know what I mean?
I'm hoping for it. I'm hoping that you'll fuck me, Gilo. So, Battle of Britain.
Let me pop a couple of blueies and I'll be there, love, all right?
The Battle of Britain happened. He is in charge of Squadron 242. Now, Squadron 242, before he became squadron leader, was a fairly dilapidated squadron. They weren't doing very well. In the Battle of Britain alone, they claimed 62 kills as a squadron. I can't remember how many aircraft are in this squadron, but that's pretty good going. 4 of them were Douglas himself, so that made him an ace, you know, regardless of the 5 previously. He was an ace now. And the media at the time picked up on that and were like, oh my God, we've got a man with no legs who is kicking the ass of the Germans. He is doing some shit that we can't do. So he became a public figure and excellent in propaganda. Now, I always thought propaganda was what happened when a Cockney had a really good look at something. But
That was good. I've not heard that one before.
We like that.
So he was then becoming a minor celebrity of the time. He got promoted again to wing commander, and as the course of the war went on, he went on hundreds and hundreds of extra missions. Every mission he could go on, he was going on. He'd come back in one plane, I say jump, probably hobble out of one plane,
Straight into another one.
immediately across to another one, loaded and fueled, gone again. He's on and gone. He's on a double shift there. He's putting 2 cards.
He's turning and burning. He's making it
Your
happen.
man's on 2 cards. Chris Bradford, how you doing? He was the Chris Bradford of Spitfire pilots. Like, your man's some boy. And he accrued a further 22 kills. So one of the highest killing pilots of the RAF in the Second World War. Like, with legs or without, he was doing really, really well. Now, I think it was sort of 1942. He had it was supposedly a mid-air collision, but the British government after the war said, oh, well, we don't think it was a mid-air collision because the Germans didn't ever acknowledge that there was a mid-air collision at that time.
Well, they're never going to, were they?
No. But then again,
After
the Germans...
war, they kind of just...
Yeah, but it was the records of the time that the British captured. The British then went through and went, oh, well, there was no mid-air collision there was no mid-air collision written down by the Germans, so therefore it can't have happened. But on the flip side of that, there was also no German report of them shooting down a Spitfire at that time and place. Because he was out on his own. At the time, he was out on his own. And he reckons he collided with a Messerschmitt when he was trying to go for a very aggressive move that probably shouldn't have been possible, and hit a Messerschmitt and went, oh, bollocks, fuck that up, let's ring the NFU. He opens the hatch to bail out, tries to bail out, the seat won't move. One of his prosthetics is caught between the dashboard and the seat, so he can't actually get out with it.
Fuck.
He's getting closer and closer towards the ground. It's all starting to go a bit Pete Tong for him. He's starting to realise that, shit, it's not going very well. I've had better days.
It's not looking
Not
good.
looking good, bruv.
It's
Not looking good, Brev.
Fuck your life. Bing bang.
pretty much. Was not the one I was hoping for, but we've moved. It still works.
You got to flick along. It's got to flick along. It's the orange one.
It was the orange one.
I have stopped.
Nope, it really wasn't that one. Anyway, he is about sort of 500-600 feet from the ground and realizes there's only one thing I can do. I'm going to pull the parachute and hope for the best. He pulls the parachute. One leg comes with him. The other leg doesn't. Initially, with one leg, hopping about like Zebedee, he managed to evade capture for 36 hours from the Germans. Man's hopping about like a one-armed kangaroo, and he still evades them for a day and a bit. He's eventually captured, taken as a prisoner of war. As soon as he is captured with one leg, like word gets around amongst the Germans, and a German fighter race, Adolf something or other, not the famous one, the other Adolf.
Eichmann.
No, not that one. It was
the other
Adolf,
famous one.
Adolf von Fraudersheim or some, I can't remember. He lost, so he doesn't get his name mentioned. He wanted to meet Douglas Bader because they'd flown against each other a lot of times, and Douglas had always beaten him. So the German ace comes and meets him. They have a chat. You know, hello, how are you? Lovely. Yes, I won. You lost. Ha ha. Tally ho. And the German ace is still so impressed by his attitude because he's got fake legs that he writes to London and says, can you send over another one of his prosthetics so he's got two legs to walk on? The British government immediately say, yep, that's fine. Give us free airspace. This is one of my favourite bits of the story. Give us free airspace and we will airdrop one of Douglas's legs to you.
No way.
So the Germans say,
fucking way.
it gets better. The Germans say, yep, that's absolutely fine. If you send a lone aircraft on its own on this day, this time, we will not attack it. We'll let it go. Drop his prosthetic leg out with a parachute. We'll collect it. We'll take it to Douglas. He can have a leg.
Mate, war is so weird.
No. The British, like, if you ain't cheating, you ain't winning. So they flew over. They dropped his leg off. Excellent. Everyone's happy. Douglas got his leg, whatever. The one British plane that was unescorted went on and bombed the power station in the village. It was
Yes, mate.
you ain't sending the fighters up to come and get us. We just dropped off our man's leg, so we're going to go bomb the shit out of your electric. So
He's now trying to put his leg on in the dark.
That's what I was thinking.
He then basically, he's already watched The Great Escape. He's so cool, he's had The Great Escape on pre-release.
I think this is my favourite part of the whole fucking story.
He tries to climb out of the prison, the hospital window with all the bed sheets tied together, as you do. He realises he tied it to the radiator on the far side of the room, and all the bed sheets tied together is not quite long enough. Fucking hell, what am I going to do? The other patient in his room, in rooms of two, was in a coma. I know what I'll do. He ties the bed sheets to the corner of his bed frame. The matey's in a coma. Moves matey's bed right next to the window, and with that added reach, he's able to reach the ground. So he reaches the ground, escapes, gets caught fairly quickly, comes back up, does the same thing again, gets caught again, tries it again, but this time, instead of escaping out of the hospital window, he tries to dig a tunnel. And how he digs the tunnel is he sort of scrapes a bit of dirt away into his prosthetic leg, moves away a bit, then falls over, and some dirt falls out. So there's no big, he got caught for that as well. And he kept getting caught, and eventually he escaped for, I want to say it was either 36 or 48 hours. It was sort of 2 days. The Germans, there are still records of it now. There are Germans who had the wanted posters of Sir Douglas Bader, because he was kicking their ass in the air with no legs. They were damned if they were going to let a man with no legs escape them. They had guns and feet. They were two up on him at this point.
What do you mean a man with no legs has escaped again? For the 18th times this week?
It's just a flesh wound. He was the Black Knight. And eventually he got moved to Colditz, and that was the end of the war until the Americans liberated Colditz and released him. Due to his efforts in the war and also his efforts immediately after the war of sort of promoting disability as not a bad thing but a good thing, he was made a Sir. So he was then Sir Douglas Bader. Now, my highlight of the Douglas Bader story is he was making a speech about how, the hardship he'd been through and everything else at a very Christian all-girls school.
Oh, no.
And he was reported of saying, I had 2 fuckers behind me, 3 fuckers to the left of me, 4 fuckers on top of me, and 1 fucker in front of me. It wasn't looking good. And the headmistress of the school was standing there listening to the speech, and she was absolutely flabbergasted at what he'd said. And she very quickly gained her composure and said, "Girls, I just thought you'd know that a Fokker is a German type of aircraft that they used a lot in World War II. And Sir Douglas Bader responded, yes, ma'am, you're right, but these fuckers were Messerschmitts. That is the tale of Sir Douglas Bader.
Oh, fucking legend.
That is
well done,
brilliant.
mate. That was brilliant.
I don't know if it's true, but I was always told the Germans actually, after his like third escape attempt or whatever, they actually took away his
they
legs.
took his legs away.
They just confiscated his legs. Right, you can't be trusted with these anymore.
You can have them for the exercise yard, and that's
We went to
all.
a lot of effort to get these through. They even bombed the power station. But now we're going to have to take them away because you won't stop climbing out the window.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's it. Fair fucking shout.
Oh, I love it. As soon as you were like, I'm doing Douglas Bader, I was like, oh, fucking yes. Oh, right. Who wants to take next? You want the next one, Keith, or
You can do one, Reg.
I'll do one.
Go on,
All
then.
Right. Well, I'm gonna do one of my favourite stories. It's not a cheery story like you two have done. It's somewhat depressing, but it's one of my favourites. I thought we'd carry on the Russian theme.
Go on.
We're gonna do Kursk.
Nice.
So yeah, anyone that doesn't know, Kursk was a 154 meter long Oscar Class 2 nuclear powered submarine. It was one of the pride symbols of Russia's naval power. The submarine was designed for deep sea warfare, equipped with 24 nuclear capable missiles and multiple advanced systems, making it one of the most sophisticated submarines in the Russian fleet. However, throughout its construction, before it started and when it finished was the end of the end of the Soviet Union. So
Didn't it lay like half built for about 5 years?
I think it did. Yeah, I think that basically after obviously the end of the Soviet Union brought upon economic destituteness throughout the Soviet Union and what is now the Russian Federation. Obviously, the one things that Russia doesn't want to cut funding to is the fleet and is its military might. However,
There weren't no money about.
Corners have to be cut somewhat when building nuclear submarines, apparently, according to the Russians. One interesting fact about the Kursk was so big that it had a swimming pool and sauna within it. Imagine having like submarines notoriously all about just efficiency and making space the most.
It was one of the smaller of the double holes, wasn't it? Because the Typhoons was the only one that was bigger.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So are you sure you're not getting confused? Because it definitely had a swimming pool at the end of it.
Didn't have a flushing toilet though, did it?
It was one of the most sophisticated submarines in the Russian fleet. But on August the 12th, 2000, the Kursk and her 118 strong crew would vanish from the service of the Barents Sea, leaving behind nothing but a trail of confusion, fear, and suspicion. The Kursk was had just finished a routine training exercise off the coast of northern Russia near the Kola Peninsula, and it was a part of a scheduled war games exercise with the Russian Navy. At around 11:30 local time, the Kursk submerged to a depth of around 100 meters, preparing to conduct a torpedo drill. But unfortunately, something went horrifically wrong. At 11:29 a.m., which is 1 minute before the Kursk was set to conduct a drill, a massive explosion shook the waters. A second, even more violent explosion followed 135 seconds later. This second blast was so powerful that it registered seismic monitoring stations more than 500 kilometers away. It was later determined that the cause of the explosion was a gas leak in one of the submarine's torpedo tube. The leak ignited, setting off the initial blast. In a confined space of the Kursk, the explosion was devastating. So basically what happened was, I think if I remember rightly, there were torpedoes in there that had a very primitive, we'll say.
It was a heavy water.
Russians? Primitive?
It was some sort of brass and it had some sort of acid. And I think the acid...
Yeah, basically it worked with, it was like a chlorine...
That was right, yeah.
Chlorine trigger on it.
And so due to the fact that they've been poorly maintained, due to massive budget cuts, nobody had really checked on these missiles that were torpedoes that were very, very, very old. And if you watch the film, Kursk, I think it's literally just called Kursk.
Yeah,
really good. Is it not Colin Firth?
Colin Firth in
Yeah,
it?
Colin Firth's in it. It's yeah.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, he is. He's one of the British naval captains. And yeah, you get to see it, and he's basically they're taking heat readings from these torpedoes because they're like, why is this one torpedo getting really hot? And then all of a sudden, woof.
Yeah.
And the problem is that one torpedo then explodes and sets off the entire battery of all the other torpedoes. The crew members aboard the Kursk were immediately thrown into chaos. The explosion destroyed the forward section of the submarine, rupturing the pressure hull and igniting a deadly fire. For those who survived the initial blast, their chances of survival were rapidly diminishing as the submarine was rapidly flooding. But what made the disaster even worse was that Kursk was not alone. Nearby, another Russian submarine, Peter the Great, was conducting exercises. However, due to the position of the blast and the depth of the Kursk, the nearby vessels were unaware of the severity of the situation. Kursk was sinking fast, but by the time it was realized, it was already too late. The Russian Navy responded quickly, sending rescue teams and even dispatching the more Russian. Why did we do this?
Saramorev.
Do you want me to read out the technical words?
Saramorev. Was a specialized rescue ship, but the conditions were not conducive to a speedy rescue. The Kursk had sunk to a depth of over 100 meters, and the water pressure and currents made it even more difficult for the rescuers to reach the submarine in time. In 2 full days, the world watched in a state of helplessness as rescue teams attempted to get to the wreckage. But there were problems there were problems far beyond the challenges of reaching the submarine. The Russian government, under then and now President Vladimir Putin, had a response that, in hindsight, seems filled with errors and delays. Despite the knowledge of the disaster almost immediately, it wasn't until later that international assistance was formally requested. The Russian Navy's reluctance to involve foreign powers, specifically British and Norwegian rescue teams with their specialized deep-sea capabilities, has been widely criticized. The Russian government initially seemed to downplay the gravity of the situation. Putin was on vacation in the Black Sea and did not return to Moscow until 4 days later. By that time, the world was watching, and the Russian military's response was increasingly scrutinized. It wasn't until days later, after a series of failed attempts to reach the Kursk, that the full extent of the disaster was understood. On August the 21st, 2000, 9 days after the explosion, Russian officials announced the grim news that all 118 crew members had perished, and it was a heartbreaking realization for the families and crew at home, and for the Russian people, and for the world. But the questions didn't stop there. What exactly had caused the Kursk to sink so quickly? What was the state of the submarine before the explosion, and why was it all so difficult to save the crew? In the months that followed, a full investigation was launched, and the primary cause of the explosion was determined to be a leak in one of the Kursk torpedo tubes. This caused a gas leak, which triggered the initial blast. However, what was not fully understood was why the torpedo tube had leaked in the first place. The investigation also pointed to a failure of the Russian Navy's safety measures, maintenance and routines, and a lack of proper evacuation training for such an emergency. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of the disaster was that the fact that some of the crew on board had likely survived for several hours after the initial explosion.
Days, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, they were finding dated notes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Experts suggest that some sailors made it into the aft section of the submarine, where there was a small pocket of survivable air, but due to the lack of timely rescue and communication, they were unable to escape. The Kursk disaster was a turning point. It exposed deep flaws in the Russian military preparedness, the inadequacies in their response to the disaster, and the limited transparency of the Russian government at the time. But even as the investigation continued, there were questions that lingered. Some experts and conspiracy theorists suggest that the sinking of the Kursk may have involved more than just a technical malfunction, that it could have been in connection to military tensions with NATO or a secret weapon test gone wrong. Though most of these theories have been debunked, the tragedy of the Kursk remains a somber reminder of the human cost of military operations, the need for effective safety protocols, and more importantly, the transparency of times in a crisis. Yeah.
If you listen back, dear listener, we did a conspiracy theory on us.
You did.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
We did. I still maintain that I don't think anything hit the Kursk. I think
I'm still in the mind of USS Memphis. Fucking, there was a collision, and I think there was an explosion, but I think
100% because they sawed the front end of the Kursk off and left it on the sea floor because they were like, we don't want anyone seeing what that is down there. We're leaving it down there. We're going to bring up the back.
The bit
end.
I never got my head around was the picture on the side of it. Obviously, where they saw it, there was a perfect hole which had been punched in.
Yeah, I can't
torpedo,
like a torpedo, like possibly the same sort of dimensions as a Type 48 US spec AdCap fucking torpedo.
But
Well,
why,
so you're saying the US torpedoed the Kursk?
why would they?
I'm saying
I'm not
nothing.
saying that, but allegedly,
Allegedly.
hypothetically, in Mexico,
In Mexico, the
Señor,
USS
ese cabrón.
in what world would we want to torpedo a Russian nuclear sub?
Shits and giggles.
because you can.
Why don't I don't know to what end? So,
Look, have you not seen the United States since they were formed? You don't fuck with America's boats.
yeah,
Thank you,
that's
fat
true.
electrician.
I love a fat electrician.
Oh, actually, unless it's the USS Liberty, then you really can fuck with our boats.
No, you don't. Look at Pearl Harbor.
I don't fuck with our boats.
sorry, we didn't realise it was one of yours.
You fuck with our boats, we're gonna burn your country.
Well, you look at pretty much any sort of large scale fucking military deployment the British and America have been involved in. Once America runs out of enemies to shoot, there's always the British. You know what I mean?
I love a blue on blue.
That's it.
I love the. I can't remember whether it was Korea or Vietnam. I think it was Korea, wasn't it? That they were sort of around a Korean island, and the Koreans fired like an anti-aircraft battery at the USS Texas,
Right.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, battleship that, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And the USS Texas responded with a full broadside. Every gun they had at the gun emplacement on the island, and it was reported at the time as USS Texas sinks an island. And there was I can't remember. I want to say it was the Arizona, but it wasn't the Arizona because that's another battleship. But it was a much smaller ship. Was reported as radioing to the USS Texas saying, temper, because unleashed a full broadside salvo of like 9 16-inch shells at this gun emplacement.
Basically, you're throwing cars at it, aren't you?
Like America goes with accuracy by volume. Like if we
Yeah.
throw enough at it, some of it will stick.
That's how a 2.2 long rifle works. Just
Accuracy by volume.
That's how
It
they
won't
say
kill it on the
Warhawk works.
first one, but it'll kill it on the fifth.
Why do you think they built a fucking plane which is shockingly bad, but it's got a 30mm Vulcan?
Well, the A10 Warthog.
Yeah. Big gun
They
go
are
burr.
they're taking that out of
It's a
service.
gun with wings.
Well, no, they're
That's
not.
exactly what it is.
As of,
No, they're not.
As of next year, they're taking it out.
Well, they've just done an update.
They've
on it, haven't
refurbed it.
I was told that they're taking it out of service.
What do you mean you were told? What context have you got in the USAF? You're a Somerset beef farmer.
all I can tell you, boys, is
So he tells us.
they fire an artillery. Is it a barrage or just like the one gun on the on the birthday of the crown? You know
Yeah.
that? Yeah, I've
Fire
got,
for effect, yeah.
yeah, I've got that shell coming.
Have you?
Yeah, from the 105 millimeter. Is
Alright,
it?
105,
Yeah,
yeah.
105.
I've got one at home.
Have you? Yeah,
I've got one at home.
Fuck you, Reg.
yeah. All right, Reg. You think you're cool? I've got 2 of those.
I got one at home as well.
Keith, I'll let you unleash that.
The world's smallest violin.
Yeah, no, I've got one that I fired, but yeah. You know,
But you fired it from the hip, you prick.
fucking right.
Off the
Where my
shoulder.
penis was. All fair shout. How do you get it? Or Dan, I ask. How you get
I
it?
can't say, but yeah, no. He was
talk
like,
about it after.
He's like, do you want the do you want the artillery shell that was fired on the King's birthday this year? I was like, obviously. It's like, I'll get it sorted.
Well, at least it's got significance. Mine was only just a fucking training one
Yeah,
from
that's
Kenya.
what mine was.
I might just
Oh,
smuggle
so
it.
you just hit some slaves?
No, we call them LECs, local employed civilians, or locally employed casualties. Well,
Shout out Ollie Giles.
yeah. Brave.
Yeah, no, mine was up on the plane as part of an 8-gun fire for effect.
I didn't even have an FFE for it. I just managed to smuggle it back in my Bergen.
I literally just went,
I love that.
carried it out, like, you know what I mean?
John just banged it out against the side of the truck. Oh, look at all
It'll be
that.
all right.
Oh, it's MD.
It makes a good doorstop and a brolly holder.
Anyone else find it weird that the B1 Lancer can take more munitions further than the B-52?
Yeah, but a B-52, it's an icon.
Yeah,
isn't
the
it?
B-52 is fucking cool.
Yeah.
But the B1 Lancer has got half as many engines and therefore twice the fuel economy because they're the same engines.
And it's got sweet wings.
It does have swept wings. It's just so cool. It's
does
an
look cool.
erection on a lever, isn't it? But it can go further than the B-52, higher than the B-52, faster than the B-52, and deliver more payload than the
But
B-52.
it costs twice as much as the B-52. And
Welcome back to Military Autism. On this show, we'll be discussing the Fairchild A10 Warthog.
That A10 Warthog is the only one it's the only gun with wings that can come back in and fly with half a wing.
Yeah. No, that's the F-15. F-15 can do that as well.
The A10. There was that one matey boy that all shot up to shit, and he got fucking blown up. He come in with like half a wing on one side and quarter on the other side, and still
I
managed
will
to fly
bet
back
you
in.
25 English crisp pounds that was an F-15 in Iraq in the 90s.
Reg, do some Googling.
I'm not getting involved
I
in
hear
this.
some reckoning going on.
Where's John?
Has anyone got the story of the tree that started World War III?
We haven't started World War III yet. Don't tell them that.
Nearly started World War III.
Oh,
Do you know
I've heard of it.
Yes.
I haven't got it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I haven't got
Yes.
it. I should have done that.
No, I
I've
haven't. I
completely
should have
forgot.
done.
That's one of my favourite fucking stories.
I like the what was
greatest
it?
country in Korea.
That was it,
Do
wasn't
not
it?
cut down my
It was in the
tree.
demilitarized zone, and they just kept fucking with each other until eventually there was like an army at each side.
Yeah.
You do not fuck with this tree. We are gonna fuck with this tree.
All they want to do is trim the branches, man. Fucking Jesus.
Chill, motherfucker.
Arbs get wild if you leave them to it.
It's gonna go all out of shape. Be
Them
terrible.
turbans be flowing.
Oh God, Keith is adamantly
Keith's
certain
on
to
Google.
find out.
He's rage googling.
Yeah, they got it on there. So obviously it is designed as well to be able to fly with only one engine, half of the tail, one elevator, and only half of one wing missing.
Half of
Which
one
you on
wing.
about the A10?
A10 Warthog.
Because I know I
Hector, can you catch
100
out, son? Come on.
No.
Because it was-
I 100% know that it was an Iranian F-15 because the F-15 has a thrust to weight ratio greater than 1. So obviously
it
the
does.
principles of flight indicate you need lift to compensate gravity and thrust to compensate drag. The F-15 develops so much thrust that it doesn't need to worry about the gravity. So you could categorize it as a rocket because it has a greater than 1 it has a greater than 1 thrust to weight ratio, meaning it doesn't need lift to generate lift.
That's like me after 3 pints.
I was only because I
you're
saw
a
a
wet
story back
spaghetti
along.
after
There
3 pints,
there was an American pilot. He'd gone out. I think it was somewhere out in the Middle East because they love bombing and shooting things out there. And
Goddamn right we do.
He'd gone out and done a few. What do they call it? A sortie or a mission or whatever. Anyway, he's out there flying away, and he's come back in. He's gone back out again, and they got hit up pretty fucking bad. And he literally flew in with like the wings all smashed to shit. There's bullet holes all over it, and it still came back in its own
I
steam.
was just impressed with the fact that the Apache can fucking run manoeuvre on its gearbox for 30 minutes.
What?
At full chat, yeah. They're designed that if you fucking crash it in...
We designed some cool shit, man.
An F-15.
Actually, no. A little Apache fact
there is
for
an
you.
A10.
The Americans
we're
want
both
to buy
right.
the British version
We'll
of the
agree
Apache.
to hate
'cause
Gilo.
Nobody can hate me. I'm too fucking supreme for that.
Even the
little
Grinch
cunt.
would struggle. Yeah, you're right.
Fucking, I'm amazing. But yeah, no, the when we got the first AH-64 weapons package, it was we used to get the bodies, but we got Westerns to make the engines.
Yeah.
And then the Americans caught wind that our Apaches were more powerful, had more, basically were a better package than what they were making. And then the Americans were like, "Oh, we'll get a load off of you." And so they started buying Westland engines, and then turned around and sort of said that they perfected it and they've done this and done that to it. But the British Apache will fly faster, further, and it's more fuel economic than the American Boeing version. Have that, Yankee motherfucker.
Yeah, there's some bits of kit them Apaches, isn't there? Mine.
Oh,
Fucking
mate,
hell.
they're ugly as shit, but my good God. Like, and this is the best way to tell if a man's a fucking man. Because an Apache goes past every bloke. If you're in the military shit or not, still look at it and go, oh, fucking hell.
It's like that fucking meme I keep seeing where it's like these sports guys like, that's a B-2 stealth bomber. That's a B-2 stealth bomber. They all turn around. They're just staring at. They're meant to be like doing some news broadcast.
But you do shit like that, man. You lose your fucking shit, don't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything military, it just appeals to the 5-year-old in you, and you're like,
Oh yeah, 100%.
fuck me, look at that.
The only thing with the Apache is like when you're on tour, when you hear an Apache flying over, or an ugly call sign as we call it,
Yeah.
like
Ugly 5-1.
you get that warm fuzzy feeling. You're like, now we're all good. Like
Yeah.
you know
Shit-
you're
shit's
fucking
just
safe
got
as
real,
houses,
yeah.
yeah. But at the same time, you're going, we're not going to get nothing out of this now. There's going to be no scrapping because them fuckers are going to delete them all.
Yeah, that's it. It's done. No, it's a foregone conclusion when that shows up, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bag of mixed emotions. That's what it is.
You got
It's a
another
bag
one
of-
for us, Keith, or not?
Yes, please send us another
Yes,
one,
Brad.
driver. Should we go for a short, swift, fucking
Do
slow
whatever you
burner?
want, baby. I'm pouring a pint.
Well, let's go for a slow burner. This one, believe it or not, I don't think it's actually military related at all.
This one comes
Get on.
from Keith's personal memoirs.
It fucking isn't, mate, because I'm not a robber.
So first of all, he got the girl pregnant. And
So this
then he got her sister pregnant.
Hey, shut the fuck up, will you? For fuck's sake.
Yeah, fair.
Fucking hell, Reg, what do you invite him on for? Right, so this one is about a bloke called Elmer McCurdy. Okay,
Elmer
so
Fudd.
yeah, pretty much, mate, because he was literally the most inept train robber ever. Okay,
I'm already liking this.
so here we go. He once tried to blow up a safe to get some silver coins and ended up melting all the metal coins inside it.
Fucking legend.
And then another
My
time,
man.
he tried to rob a train, but all he was able to get was a bottle of whiskey and $15 from the conductor. So after that, he held up on the farm, drank all the whiskey, got into a shootout with a sheriff, and died in 1911 in the shootout. But that's not the end of the story.
What? How
did you progress from that?
Just
The ghost of Elmer.
hold tight, people. So they took him to a funeral home, and he was embalmed with lots of arsenic because they thought it'd be a while before someone tried to claim the body. And they were right, because no one came to claim him. And the funeral director was like, well, I'm making money out of this guy, so let's put him on display at the Oklahoma Outlaw and charge money for people to see him. The funeral director's kids used to put Elmer on roller skates and scare other children with him. Right? Eventually, these two dudes came over and were like, oh, poor brother Elmer, we must take him home. They were not his brother, they were a sideshow.
No way.
He was in a movie theatre lobby as a hophead who tried to hold up a stall and was shot in order to promote an anti-drug film. But it's been decades, and he's starting to look a little rough. All decontaminated, missing a few fingers and his hair. They rent him out to display at Niagara Falls. And they then send him back because they think he's a really creepy waxwork. Yep, it's been so long, no one remembered he's actually a real dead guy.
Oh, fuck.
So he gets sold to the Pike, this rundown pier amusement park in Long Beach, California. He's hung up in Laugh in a dark, well, their ghost funhouse ride sort of thing. The Pike is a terrible park, but it's a cheap film app. In December 1976, they're filming an episode of The $6 Million Man, and they're in the Laugh, in the dark, moving stuff around, and they move this painted neon orange dummy, and its arm breaks off.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And it's a real arm.
Holy, imagine the fear.
And it's a real dead
Poof
guy.
fell out.
A naked, painted orange, incredibly mummified. He's eventually taken to the coroner and eventually identified and then eventually buried in Boot Hill in... Shit, where's the answer to that? He's eventually taken to the coroner, eventually identified, and he's eventually buried in Boot Hill in Oklahoma. Under concrete, so he can't go wandering again.
No fucking way.
Hey, that's mad.
What a weird
Well,
chain of events. They
Luke
used him
Coombs
in
was
like...
right. There ain't no love in Oklahoma.
And the fact that they like painted him because they thought he was just a mannequin. And then they're like, the fucking arm come off, bloody leg come out, stunk.
He's got an arm off.
Holy shit.
Mate, that's going some, isn't it? That's fucking awesome.
What
I
is
love
it
the
when it
short banners.
yanks and like using? There's that story of the cave guy in there, the guy that got trapped in the cave, and they basically just couldn't get him out. They couldn't exhume his body, so they just used him as like a, hey, come down to the cave and see the dead guy. Wow, we got trapped down here. Now we've got him in a Pustex box. Take a picture with the dead man in the cave.
I thought you were on about matey from 127 hours then. So taking a turn. He got out. He cut his arm off, but he was all right.
With a blunt Leatherman.
Oh, fucking hell.
But fair play.
Yeah, that's survival, man.
Any of you three do that?
No.
No, you're right.
Oh, my...
Like, would you
fruity
keep
drink.
trying until you died? Yes, you would. Would you get out by cutting your arm off and breaking the bone by just levering it against the stone you were trapped against? No, you wouldn't.
He said the most painful thing was cutting through the sinew and the tendons.
Did I read that book as a 9-year-old on my parents' bookcase thinking it was something innocent? Yes, I did. Am I scarred for life? Yes, I am. Did I see the pictures in that book?
I was like, what's this on the bookshelf? Ooh, there's some good ideas in here.
Honestly, that
This
man,
isn't
that man is
Minecraft.
undercredited.
There's notes in the margin and everything.
So misunderstood.
Hell of a painter.
Yeah, no one's ever, no true artist is appreciated in their time, are they?
It's a bit like Kurt Cobain, isn't it? And Michelangelo. Both most famous for decorating a ceiling.
Oh, yeah, he shot himself with a 20 board, a fag.
Fucking do it right. Innit? Come on, son. No fuck about.
Yeah, shoot with a Brown in 10 semi. Oh.
If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'll probably do it at the 12 ball, but I want to do it.
You'll do it with a train, knowing you.
I want to do it with the train and so fuck that.
Oh, no, because I'll be on strike.
The
Sat
dragon.
there waiting for ages.
Fucking come on!
Was this a hunger strike or a suicide attempt? I'm confused now.
The ticket was too expensive.
Yeah, literally. I want to go catch a train the other day to Bath because obviously I'm, got free travel.
How do you catch a train? Big net or what?
Big net. and a can-do attitude. And but yeah, no, fucking they were on the trains, innit? I know the cunts who work on them. Fuck that.
I won't go on a train exclusively because I know that you might have mended it.
Maybe. Mended is a
Now
strong
pulling
word.
into London Paddington. Now failing to stop at London Paddington.
They got buffers at the end, it'll be alright.
Now crashing through the buffers at London Paddington. Please alight the train carefully. Please mind the gap between us and Buckingham Palace.
Now stopping in Waterloo.
Underground.
Go on,
Reg.
Reg, you got one here?
Reg, have you got a historical tale
I
for us?
have, yeah. It's one of my favourites. It's one of the greatest battles ever fought, in my
Rock
opinion.
Shrift?
The Black Knight.
No,
in Monty Python.
it's probably I'd say
Walk
it's one of the greatest and one of the largest battles ever fought in sort of just about living history.
If you're Gilo.
Look, I'll let you determine what it is as I read on. It's the summer of 1942, and the Axis powers, led by Nazi Germany, are on the offensive in the Soviet Union. After capturing vast swaths of territory, swathes. All right. After capturing vast swathes of territory,
Sorry, Dad.
in the first year of the war, Hitler has set his sights on the southern Soviet Union, specifically the city of
Leningrad.
Stalingrad.
Oh, Stalingrad. So
The,
fuck's sake.
the strategic importance of the city is immense. Located on the Volga River, it serves as a key industrial hub and transport route. But more than that, it bears the name of the Soviet leader, Joseph Stalin, making it a symbolic target for Hitler. July the 17th, 1942, the German assault begins. The battle officially begins on this day with the German 6th Army, commanded by General Friedrich Paulus, I'm going to go with Paulus, begins an assault on Stalingrad. They move under Operation Blau, a larger plan aimed at seizing the oil fields of the Caucasus. But Stalingrad is in the immediate target. The city is heavily bombed in the opening days, reducing much of it to rubble. The Germans expect a quick victory. After all, they've conquered much of the Soviet Union with rapid advances, but Stalingrad is different. The Soviets are determined to defend it at all costs. By August, the German forces have pushed their way to the outskirts of Stalingrad. What follows is a brutal urban battle, the likes of which has never been seen before. The fighting takes place in the ruins of the city. Every street, every building, every factory becomes a battlefield. German soldiers fight house to house, while Soviet forces, under the command of General Vasily Chulikov.
Zhukov.
Zuk-
Zhukov?
is that it? No,
Well, Zhukov did that one.
is that that's
Oh, Chukov. No,
Do you want the
Zhukov.
only privately school educated one to read that?
Vasily Chuikov waged fierce resistance. The Soviets, for the Soviets, the battle is a matter of survival. Stalin's orders are clear: not a step back. Civilians are pressed into service, often fighting alongside soldiers. The Germans, meanwhile, are stretched thin, struggling with supply lines and the harsh Russian winter. By September, the battle reaches a fever pitch. While the Germans are making some advances, the Soviets have begun to execute a strategy of attrition. The German 6th Army, advancing through the ruins, begins to face an unexpected resistance from Soviet forces entrenched in the city. The Luftwaffe continue to provide support, but supply lines are growing increasingly strained. In the meanwhile, Soviet reinforcements arrived and the Red Army began to launch counterattacks. On the southern side of the city, Soviet forces launch a series of operations to encircle German forces. They succeed in cutting off the 6th Army's supply lines. November the 19th, 1942. The turning point comes on this day in a bold and unexpected move. The Soviets launch Operation Uranus. This massive counter offensive. I knew that was going to make you laugh. This massive.
Did they penetrate from the rear or?
The frontal assault.
This massive counter offensive involved a two-pronged assault.
Even a bit of showstopper.
aimed at
Two in
surrounding
the pink and one in the stink.
aimed at surrounding the German 6th Army and the Romanian and the Italian forces that were stationed alongside them. The Soviet forces, including elite tank divisions, advanced from the north and the south, catching the Axis forces off guard. Within days, the Germans are encircled. Hitler refuses to allow the generals to retreat, and instead he orders a defense at all cost strategy. The German forces, now trapped, are unable to break the Soviet encirclement. Food, ammunition, and medical supplies begin to dwindle. By mid-September, the Luftwaffe attempts to resupply the German forces in Stalingrad, but it's a dismal failure. The Luftwaffe are unable to fly enough supplies into the besieged German army as the winter sets in. As the winter sets in, the temperatures drop to brutal lows. Soldiers freeze to death, while remaining supplies consist of little more than frozen rations and weapons. Morale among the German troops deteriorates rapidly. With the Germans now completely surrounded, the Soviet forces launched their final offensive on January the 10th, 1943. The encirclement tightens and the Germans begin to suffer extreme casualties. Meanwhile, the Soviet forces close in from all sides. Within a week, Polpus, realizing the situation is hopeless, requests permission to surrender. A German surrender. After weeks of brutal fighting, an end comes on January the 31st, 1943, when General Friedrich Paulus, who has been promoted to Field Marshal in a desperate attempt by Hitler to prevent surrender, surrenders to the Soviets. In total, over 300,000 Axis soldiers, German, Romanian, and Italian, are either killed, wounded, or captured, and only 90,000 German soldiers are taken as prisoners, many of whom would die in Soviet captivity due to the harsh conditions. The Soviet losses are staggering as well. The Red Army, alongside civilians who were pressed into battle, suffered an estimated 1.1 million casualties, including over 500,000 dead and 40,000 civilians killed. Thousands more were wounded or left homeless. For the Soviet Union, the victory in Stalingrad is monumental. It marks the first major defeat for the Nazis and turns the tide of the war in the East. The Battle of Stalingrad, with its staggering loss of life and intense urban combat, would forever be remembered as one of the bloodiest and most consequential battles in history. The Soviets didn't just win a battle, they shifted the balance of power. In the months following Stalingrad, the Red Army began a series of offensives that would push the Nazis all the way back to Berlin. Hitler's dream of conquering the Soviet Union was shattered, and the Germans were firmly now on the defensive. The battle is also marked as a turning point in terms of morale. The Soviet victory inspired and renewed a sense of purpose among the Red Army, while the German defeat shattered the myth of Nazi invincibility. For years to come, Stalingrad would be the rallying cries for both sides, symbolizing the horrors and heroism of war.
The Great Patriotic War.
The Battle of Stalingrad is not just a turning point in this war, it was also a turning point in the struggle for survival, identity, and ideology. Over 2 million people were involved in this battle, and by the end, the devastating impact could be felt across the entire European continent. Yeah, so there.
That was it.
Yeah, I thought...
fucking hell of a thing that was.
It was one of the... It is... like, your mind can't get over the fact that over 1 million people were killed, and like nearly 2 million people were killed or injured.
It's like Stalin said: one person dies is a tragedy, 1 million people
dies is a statistic. Yeah, and nearly 2 million people killed or wounded over one city. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not me belittling the importance of the city. It was of huge importance strategically, as mentioned there, but also as a point of, pride and for morale.
It was ideology.
It was, yeah.
Stalingrad could not go.
This was fascism against communism. This is where they met, at Stalingrad. Yeah. And not only that, it bore the name of the leader, Stalin. Is it now St. Petersburg?
That's St. Petersburg.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. But it's just crazy. Like, it was, if you watch any of them, there's a couple of films on it which are good, but nothing, like, the numbers do it more justice than any film will. Just getting your head around the fact that many people died defending or attacking one city.
But was it not, that was not where the Russians said, if the man in front of you dies, you pick up his rifle.
Yeah, that's it. And keep
because they were so short on munitions and
one person had the magazine, one person had a rifle.
Yeah. And if he died, you picked up the rifle and carried on.
Enemy at the Gates, isn't it? Yeah.
But I'm sure it was a statistical fact. Yeah, and that was also where the origins of the AK-47 came from.
Was it?
Yeah,
Because
Kalashnikov, he fought in that war,
Mr. Kalashnikov was a tank commander.
Yes, he was.
In World War II, and he wanted to design something that had similar capabilities to the German MP40. So set about designing the AK-47. So I can't remember what the A stands for, because it's not his first name.
I thought it was
Anatoly Kalashnikov. Let me check it. Let me have a look. I thought it was.
Either way, 47 was the year it was actually commissioned, and K was definitely Kalashnikov. So maybe the A was his first name.
Avtomat Kalashnikova. I don't know what that means, but that's what it stands for.
That was probably his name. and he designed the AK-47.
It basically means Kalashnikov's automatic rifle. That's what it meant.
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't think it was his name. But that was where it was designed.
Mikhail Kalashnikov.
That was
his name.
Mikhail. That's
Yes.
the bugger. I know the prick. He never actually made a penny out of that.
No.
He claims now a state Russian pension.
Well, that's
Because
communism,
he
unfortunately.
didn't.
isn't it?
He didn't
They
patent
still
it.
the family business, family factory, still produces AK-47.
Yeah, family
Did they
factory
actually?
belonged to
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
Oh, imagine getting a genuine AK.
That's
She's
it, but
genuine boy.
yeah, but they did because obviously he was given factory ownership or factory managership during
You
the
do
Soviet.
not own. You are part of Soviet Union.
Soviet Union.
It is our factory.
the people's factory. And some are more equal than others. But yeah, and I think the family, I'm pretty sure the family still make them.
They do, but yeah, mate, he was still alive last time I
I
checked.
think,
but
I think he probably died by now, hasn't
I don't know. Reg, do a Google.
What?
Mikhail Kalashnikov. Is he still alive or
I
not?
don't
I
think
think he's dead. I'm
Because
pretty
I know,
sure he's dead.
up
He died.
until, when he was still about, he was only collecting a state Russian pension.
2013 he died, yeah.
Oh, my man.
Because
He's dead.
have you ever seen the video of him and Eugene Stoner having a conversation?
No.
No.
Fucking amazing. So
Is it?
Eugene Stoner's the guy who developed the AR-15 platform, then the M16A1 or whatever they
Yeah.
call it. There's a video of them two meeting and having a conversation.
Mine is better.
Yeah, basically comparing the two, like these two rifles that have gone on to change the face of modern
world,
warfare,
yeah.
which is so interesting to see.
But you look at sort of the main platform where they were statued against each other was Vietnam.
Yeah.
Because all the
yeah.
Vietnamese had AK-47s
And there
and
was
the
all
Americans had M16s.
M16s, yeah.
And the M16s used to fail and malfunction in wet weather and horrible conditions. Whereas the AK-47 was
Dig it out
designed
the
with a
dirt,
piece
it'll
of,
go.
literally
Yeah.
designed with a piece of baler twine and a hammer. So
Well,
if it broke,
that was
you
the
could
point
tie a
of it.
knot.
He built it with the intention that a conscript could pick it up, fire it, clean it, repair it.
Yeah.
You could
No,
bury it,
with
dig it
no-
back
with no
up, and then go
tools.
again.
And-
The Americans laughed at it until they realised that it was better than what they had because it didn't break. It never broke.
You look at that compared to like the A2, the gas parts. Fuck, you get any shit in that, they're fucked.
Yeah.
You got to strip it down, you got to clean it. And
AK-47, you bury it in a swamp for 3 months, pick it up, clean it, fire it,
what's
done.
it? Literally, you shake the shit out the breech,
Yep.
put a mag in it,
She's
and
away.
off you go. You do that. You do it with like SA-A2. Like fuck me.
I'm not an expert on the SA-80, but yeah.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
small parts.
better than the earlier ones.
Oh
like-
yeah, they're better than
Right,
they were.
yeah.
by a
First
long
ones were
way, but-
Enfield, weren't they? Or
No, so
No,
I mean
no,
the
No,
the
Shaq, you're
first.
going to World War
but
One. You're a
they
little
were,
bit beyond
they
the
were
times.
made by Enfield, the company. Was it Enfield or BSA that made the very I'm gonna look it
Heckler
up.
and Koch.
Yeah,
No, Heckler and Koch recommissioned them because they had so many fucking problems with them. From what?
Yeah, the SA-80A1
The
was
first
shit.
ones was dog
horrendous.
shit.
But
Yeah,
the A2 was
because I
better,
think
wasn't
they're on the A3 now, aren't they?
Right, H, you got one more for us before we finish off. What
I
you got?
have, if we got time.
Yeah,
So
we can do it.
we go back from the modern era back to effectively World War II, because that was all the technology we had at the time. Port Stanley Airfield,
Oh, hello.
the Black Buck raids of 1982.
Oh, Black Buck.
Black Buck.
Oh, Black Buck. Sorry, yeah,
Black Buck. Not Black Fuck, Black Buck.
Black Buck. Okay, got you.
Different story. We haven't got time
Same
for that
person.
one. From the UK, well, I have to sort of premise this with on... I haven't written it down.
1982.
Yeah, no, I know it's 1982, but April, I want to say it was sort of April...
It was in the spring of '82.
Definitely
Yeah, it
April.
was.
No, because it's really important. I haven't fucking... the Argentines, bastards, invaded the Falklands on the 2nd of April, 1982. Now, that date is important because you look at any modern planning exercise of anything, the strategic planning takes a long time to work out the logistics. 2nd of April, 1982, the Argentines invade the Falklands. Immediately, the Navy said, we can't really deal with that because we've just got the new Harriers. We don't want to ruin them in the Argentine anti-aircraft air defences that they have just put up on the Falklands. We've just developed the Harrier. It's brilliant, but it's not very fast. So we can't we don't want to send it into the SAMs, Strategic Anti-Aircraft Surface-to-Air Missiles. That's the ones. You know the bugger. They didn't want to send them in there. So they said to the RAF, can you do anything? And the RAF went, fucking next to South America, what the fuck do you expect us to do? And the RAF went, I don't know, sort it out. So the RAF came up with a plan to go from the Ascension Islands, which were 4,300 miles from the United Kingdom mainland. And they were 7,002. I've only got these statistics from 2 different sources, so I'm not 100%, but we'll go with it. 7,200 miles from the Ascension Islands to the Falkland Islands.
Just a hop across the water.
It's just a hop, skip, and a jump and a swim.
Yeah.
The first air-to-air refueling tankers, which were made of, and a little side note, at the time, 1982, the Vulcan, Avro Vulcan, was destined to be retired in July of 1982. The Handley Page Victor had already been retired from bombing duty. Now, they were called the V bombers.
First of their kind, wasn't it? Because they went from propeller rotary engines straight into the jet
They literally went from, well, obviously, Avro Vulcan. Avro made the Lancaster. So they went from the Avro Lancaster to the Avro Vulcan. Now, the Avro Lancaster was a very, very, very good aircraft of its time in the Second World War. And then they designed the Avro Vulcan, which was a V-wing bomber, which meant it didn't have tailplanes as such. It just had a V-wing, a delta wing.
It was a fucking awesome aircraft.
And
it sounded amazing.
I know because my granddad used to work in an office in Bristol, and they used to test. They used the Vulcan as the test bed for the Concorde engines.
That's right.
The Olympus,
the Olympus engine, whereas the Vulcan had Bristol engines in it. But they were tested on the same platform because the Vulcan was a delta wing shape, which is the same as Concorde, so they thought it was the best platform that they could have. But the V bombers were a trio designed in the 50s in the Cold War. There was the Handley Page Victor, the Vickers Valiant, and the Avro Vulcan. Now, there were 2 different variants of the Vulcan. There were probably more sub-variants, but the 2 main variants, there were, in terms that Reg will understand, there was the L322 4.2 supercharged and the L322 5-litre supercharged. Now,
both
at the
great.
time,
One was quicker than the other.
Yeah, one was a lot quicker than the other. Now, at the time, in 1982, there were 6 Vulcans, 6 planes that had the 5-litre supercharged in. The rest had the 4.2.
Yeah.
Now, they realised for the weight they were carrying, for the distance they were carrying, that the 4.2s are no good. They had to go with the 5 litres, of which there were 6. And 4 of them had already been retired from active duty. So the RAF went down to their sort of scrap bins and they sorted a few things out and greased a few palms, and all of a sudden, all 6 were operational again.
They've recommissioned them. We've recommissioned them.
Yeah,
They're
it's
fine.
just recommissioned, Jack. We've been around with a grease gun, it'll be fine. So, on the 2nd of April 1982, the Argentines invaded the Falklands. The first air-to-air refueling tankers they arrived on Ascension on the 18th of April, which is quite a long time for that to happen, but by then they'd already had the majority of the plan in place. The Vulcan arrived on the 20th of April 1982 to the Ascension Islands, so 20 days after the Argentines had invaded. For the Vulcan to be ready for an air-to-air refueling mission across the distance that they were talking, not only did they have to... So all 6 of the Vulcans that were capable of doing the distance, so the 5-litre supercharged version, they were only capable of non-air-to-air refueling and nuclear bomb capability.
Great.
So they had a very big bomb bay that was designed for 1 nuclear warhead. They had to convert those to the older 4.2s that were... they had the 21 separate bomb compartments.
More conventional bombing, yeah.
And they also had to put the air-to-air refueling in them so that they could make the mission. Now, to do that, and I quote now from a RAF engineer at the time, we took the one-way valves that were designed as single-use, we took them out of the older Vulcans and put them into the newer Vulcans with some silicon sealant and other sealers to make sure that the one-way valves stayed as one-way and not two-way valves. By the sort of 24th, 25th of April, the Vulcans and the Handley Page Victors, they never used the Vickers Valiant because they were too unreliable. But the Handley Page Victor tankers, because they had most of those as tankers, and the Avro Vulcans were on Ascension ready to go. They had to wait then for confirmation from the USAF because although Ascension was a British territory, the airbase and runway on it was an American airbase. So they had to ask the Americans, do you mind awfully if we use your runway for an attack on the Falklands? And the Americans went, well, you're never going to fucking get there. So yeah, you do you, boo. So was the 31st of April, 1st of May. They set off. There were 11 tankers. 11 Vickers Valiant set off. Oh, no, sorry, Handley Page Victors. Fuck. 11 Handley
had a
Page.
drink.
Shut up, Gilo. There were 11 Handley Page
Ooh,
Victors.
you violent little cunt, you.
I will Falkland your ass in a
I will
minute.
fuck you like the British
There
did
were-
with the fucking...
Let me tell my
Oh,
story!
start your fucking story then.
There were 11 Handley Page Victors that took off and 2 Vulcans, XM598 and XM607. XM598 failed to get beyond 2,000 feet because they had a pressurization issue with one of the drivers, the sort of pilot's windscreens. The rubber seal failed, so they couldn't pressurize the cabin. So XM607, captained by Martin Withers, who I've met, and he is, as you would expect a Vulcan pilot to be, he is cool as fucking ice. Yep. He is one sound motherfucker. They took off. They quickly ascended to the head of the convoy, took part in their first refueling stop. All the Victors were refueling each other because they couldn't find a way.
Yeah,
they couldn't find a way
It's
to
like a daisy
basically-
chain effect they had to do, innit?
Yeah,
To get there.
they couldn't find a way to go from the storage fuel tank of a Handley Page Victor into its actual engine fuel tank. So what they had to do was refuel each other all the time. And it worked out that by the time that the Vulcan had got back to the Ascension Islands, there had been 18 separate air-to-air refuelings, which if you ask any pilot that you know is an entirely impossible outcome to have 18 that were successful without any failures whatsoever.
And you got to think the distance they went as well. They didn't have any of the extra flying aids that they do on the planes nowadays either.
So
And that's-
effectively, from Ascension to the Falklands,
He's all iron stick. Like
it is.
literally, your man's
that's
there
it.
with a stick in his hand, like left a bit, right a bit, up a bit, down a bit. Fucking
because
send her on there,
the
Rav.
bomb computer was the same one out of Lancaster.
It was.
Yeah,
10
so-
out of 10 for Gilo.
Yeah, look at
It
that.
was the Lancaster bomb aimer and radar capability was effectively from a Lancaster.
It was, yeah.
was that the Norden bomb site?
No, I want to say it was HRS, something like
I
that.
want to say HOS. Yeah, it worked on a sort of like it was like a mechanical computer. Is the best way to describe it.
It still had pulleys and strings.
Yeah, that
in
was it. And you sort of worked out. It would work out. You'd work out your height and drop because they were going
So
to use the Lancaster aiming system with the lights if all else failed.
From the Dan Busters
The
raid.
Dan Busters
Yeah.
raid. And then they would time it, and obviously it would be a man with your stopwatch, and you've done X amount per whatever. They did the calculations, and they worked that in, and then it'll work out the bomb rotation, then drop.
But then they worked out that there's a mountain behind Port Stanley on the Falklands that was higher than anything else. So the Vulcan flew in at like 70,000 feet because the air was thinnest and therefore created the least air resistance, so it would be better for fuel economy.
Yeah.
They would drop down to under 100 feet for 30 miles. Imagine doing 77,000 down to 100, just like, we're having a crash. We're having a crash. We're having a crash. We're having a crash. We're having
Pull up.
Okay.
Pull up.
Terrain. The sea in front of you.
It's like landing in Camp Bastion.
Fucking you.
So they went down to 100 feet for 30 miles to keep under the SAM radar. They then pulled up to, I think it was 1,000 feet, which alerted the SAM radar, but the SAMs couldn't get onto them. They went up to 5,000 or 6,000 feet for their actual bombing run. They bombed the runway at Port Stanley at a 35-degree angle. So, no. It sounds stupid, but when Martin Withers, I've met him once, and he explained it to me, it makes perfect sense. If you try and go parallel with the runway, if you miss by a foot, you've done fuck all. If you go at a 35-degree angle, as long as you're somewhere near, at least one bomb will connect with the
'cause
runway.
You're dropping a
Because
line.
you're on a cross, aren't you? If you go
Yeah.
parallel and you miss by a foot, you're over there.
You want,
irrelevant.
like you say, you want to go across.
If you go on a cross path, so the first Black Buck mission, they only hit one bomb on the runway, but that split the runway in half.
That's enough to do it.
Yeah.
It rendered the runway useless for fast jets and transport planes and anything other than helicopters, basically.
Yeah, because they had the Argentine. They had the A1, jet. I can't remember the name of it.
What, the
I
one that
don't
they
actually
borrowed
know
from the
what-
Americans? Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. It was basically a
Reagan really didn't want us to do this. He was just like, no.
I mean, he sort of did and he sort of didn't because I'll get onto it briefly. I haven't got the details if I have a Black Buck one. But
Outwardly, he was like, no, I don't want a war. And then privately, he was like,
it's going to be great. It's going to be huge. We're going to bomb the Falklands.
that's right, Maggie, you get those bastards.
The Falkland Islands belong to Britain, and I want them back. So when the Vulcan took off, and there's just some numbers that I find staggering, so I thought I'd share with the group. when the Vulcan took off, it had 42,000 litres of fuel on board.
Jesus, that's
So-
like nearly 2 tankers.
The Vulcan takeoff weight was designed, when the Vulcan was initially designed, was designed at 78 tons, which is quite a lot for a plane.
Yeah.
When the Vulcans took off from Ascension, they weighed 93.
Fuck me.
So they worked out that the Bristol engines in the Vulcan, that's why they had to have the later ones, they were working at 110% capacity. They were effectively, like the rev limiter was at 6,000 and they were running at 7 at takeoff to get the fucking thing in the air. And once they took off, they were back down to 100% power
Yeah,
until
but
they
you
got to
to
there.
think you're still using an old engine, effectively.
That they were 6 months from retirement.
Yeah,
they were
that's it.
35 years old at the time of
And
the
you're doing
mission.
that 100. You think of any fucking, like, any car, your Land Rover, the brand new, that in
That'll
fucking
break.
in
Broke
5 years, that's it. You know what I mean? And you've got, but the problem is the intricacies of a jet engine, and it's a 35-year-old jet engine
Yeah.
running at 100%. And you lose that.
That's been clagged
Game
together in
over.
a shed by 3 men, mate, all
It's
named John.
Filton in Bristol, of all places. You know what I mean?
Do you know the best statistic I've got is the Vulcan, when it was under full chat, when it was at sort of cruising power, was using 7,370 kilos per hour of fuel. 7.5 tons an hour. Your lorry that you're going to live in, that every hour in fuel. And so they did it the first time, and obviously it was a success.
Yeah.
They did it the second time. It was nearly a success because they sort of missed the runway a bit, but still shook them up a bit.
Yeah.
The third and fourth times were cancelled due to bad weather after they'd taken off. The fifth time, they were aiming at a sort of substation radar anti-aircraft station.
Right.
The sixth time was the 6th black buck mission. There were only 7 in total, and I can't remember much about the 7th, but the 6th one, they took off, did what they had to do, and they had 4 Shrike anti-radar missiles, which they bought from America on effectively the black market, which no one knew that Britain had bought. And we attached all 4 of them to a Vulcan and went, well, you've been down there before, just, second left at the roundabout and crack on. So we went down there. We tried to launch 2 of them at the main radar station, but the thing with the Shrikes, they only worked if the radar station was active.
Oh,
And the Argentines went, oh no, a Vulcan, turn it off. Turn it off. They will not see us. Turn it off. So they couldn't launch the Shrikes at the main radar station. So they launched it at a secondary radar station, which was effectively a man in a shed with a cannon. So the man in a shed became a veneer on the hillside. And the Vulcan then turned round for home. But as it turned round for home, it launched on its first aerial refueling, which caused the probe from the Vulcan to snap off in the sort of tail probe of the Hanley Page Victor, which meant that the Vulcan then had to land at Rio de Janeiro airport. So they dropped 1 Shrike and all of the paperwork off the plane over the ocean. But when they landed at Rio de Janeiro, they still had 1 American Shrike missile on board that they weren't supposed to have. And for 10 days, the British airmen managed to somehow convince the Brazilian authorities that the Bombay doors are broken, they won't open, so you can't see what's in them.
Ever so sorry, old chap.
Terribly sorry.
I would love to open them, but unfortunately I can't.
Oh dear. Right. Well, that's been a hell of an episode. I've really enjoyed it. We've never done a history episode before. This is
good. I
this is
enjoyed
good.
that.
We should do another one. Right, that's about it. Thank you everyone for listening. Like, share, subscribe, all that good shit. Write us 5 stars on anything you listen to us. Great help. Join the Patreon. Check out the sponsors. We're Levy Longtime. I have been Reg.
I've been Hector.
I've been a Conway chairman.
And I've been Keith.
Right, and that's the end.
Oh.
Until next week. Yay!